Sadu Dark Titaki Chi Astrogoblin. Although Han Solo's skyhouse saw finally complete, bounty hunters and food pirates run rampant across the galaxy. Zorba ta Hutt and his ugly pedunky Trioculus have hatched do stinky plot to crushed ta Jedi. And so chaos and dissent no Leia this con podcast. Chobasa Tata Galactic Book Club.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I've got a bad feeling about this. I've got a bad
Feeling about this.
feeling about this.
Whoa! The Hutties translator has been opened again.
I
This
don't
is
know
it.
what I said.
This is it. This
is
is the
it.
this is the book.
This is the one.
Hang on.
Is this just the back of the book that you translated?
No, I wrote something.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember what it was.
Hang on.
What?
Wait.
What are we waiting on?
And okay, I finished the book.
Oh, okay. I can read the
Save a
back of the
couple
book
sentences.
here if you want. I've got it right here.
Please do.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Han Solo is thinking of getting married. Trioculus has
At the
found
end of
his
the book.
queen.
Yeah,
But the
that's
father of Jabba the Hutt is about to shatter their plans. Everybody's, heroes and villains.
Yep.
The battle to defeat the forces of the evil Galactic Empire rages on, I guess. Throughout the vastness of space, heroic men. Oh, this is all the usual
Mostly,
shit.
mostly
It's all the
on
same stuff.
around Bespin.
Just around
but
Best.
yeah.
I'm also really
Yeah.
unclear on what the battle is. Like the Empire, to what capacity do they still govern?
They're
like,
making
why are
ion
they able
cannons.
to
Why
put
does-
a weapon manufacturer sail barge on a planet
that's owned by a
But it's-
by a
that's
general.
governed by a rebel general, but also has a police force that is so willing
Yeah.
Yeah,
Real corrupt.
Yeah.
get corrupt, but also kill Nazis.
Yeah.
So there was a frightening moment yesterday where Patrick and I both realized that we hadn't read this book.
yeah.
Or, well, Patrick hadn't reread it. This
Yeah.
is all still so new
Yeah,
to me.
okay, I hadn't read it in 30
Yeah.
years.
For the record, when that conversation was happening, I also had not started it.
Oh, good.
But you knew you had to read it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we even got so far as agreeing on the time for
I
today.
thought we were streaming today.
No.
Yeah,
I
you didn't
told
even
my
know
wife,
we were
I was
doing
like, oh, it's a
Star Wars.
later day because we're streaming, so it'll probably be like 3 or 4 that we start streaming. 'Cause that's usually it.
No, and then
No.
I said, shoot, I forgot to read the book. And then Patrick said, yeah, 11 is good. Oh, shit.
We gotta read a book.
And I was worried, that because we doubled up on recordings this week. I was worried
Yeah.
that having such a short span of
Tripled
rush
up.
time.
Yeah.
Such a short span of time to read this book that I wouldn't be able to take away as many nuggets to talk about on a podcast. No. The generosity of Paul and Hollis Davids cannot be underestimated
A
because
bounty.
they have given us
Too much.
so much in this book.
Way
The
too
filler
much.
episode is over. Now they're giving
Yeah,
us
back to meat.
it's
Things
like
are
a,
happening.
It's like a Ben and Jerry's ice cream pint.
The
Like,
whale
it's
and
less
down.
ice cream than it is stuff.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
It's a sugar,
Crap.
a candy flavored bun. Just
Ooh,
for-
there we go.
Yeah,
Full of truth
Which,
serum.
because I think I'll forget as far as the truth serum is concerned. Like
Mm-hmm.
in this book, it's used in a candy flavored bun, but then in the glossary it says Ava bush spice, truth telling serum. Often used in sweets like candy flavored.
No, it's why would it often be?
No, it doesn't work unless it's in candy flavored
So-
buns.
A boy is drugged in this book like 4 times.
repeatedly,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sometimes not even to get the truth out of him.
Yeah,
It's
just
drugged
drugged.
and
yeah.
just to
traded?
make him unconscious.
It's
Yeah.
sold.
Yep.
The boy seller thing happened, like Chip said.
I know. Well, there's a lot of selling and buying of sentient beings.
Yes.
Yeah, droids again take a big like
Droids are maybe the most.
they hate droids
Like,
so much.
yeah,
But also they believe in equal rights for male and female droids.
We'll get to it.
Which
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
You know?
Yes, 3PO gets his misogyny put in check.
Yeah. So in the old character
Gay
illustrations,
Republicans.
there's only like
C-3PO.
there's only 2 additions on the Rebel side. You got Lando,
Yeah,
and,
looks handsome.
and
Sure.
Kate,
Wow.
the sex droid.
Really hot,
Wow,
really hot.
Who
Yeah, she's real
opened
hot.
fires at Han's birthday party
And
or-
just
or
falls
housewarming?
falls off the edge.
Look at
Let me get
for
this
no
spot.
reason.
Oops.
Yeah.
And then on the Empire, there's a few new ones. You got Zorba, who looks
Yeah.
great.
Who's absolutely not affiliated with the Empire.
Nope. You got Tibor.
For a moment, it
The
looked like he
Barabel.
might be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tabor,
You
yeah.
got CB99, who is evil R2D2.
Yes. Oh, I didn't even. I heard barrel shaped, and I'm thinking of the bomb droid from
The bomb
creator.
droid. Yeah, yeah.
It's been an honor serving with you, Zorba the Hutt.
And then there's listed as Twi'lek Alien, and that's just Bib Fortuna.
No, it's
Yeah.
Twi'lek Alien.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, is that Bib? What is this?
And then you got Kadan and Triclops. So not too much has changed.
You got a real rogues gallery of shitheads.
So
in
I
this
watched-
one, who just would do. They would sell their own mother for a gemstone.
I love Gemstones so much.
I didn't want to read this book, so I watched The Gorge.
Okay.
Oh, the Apple TV
a new
thing.
Apple TV movie, which is really bad.
It looks so
Wait,
stupid.
who's in that? Is that
Miles Teller and
Miles-
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy. Okay, I've never heard
Like
her
the
face.
first trailer I saw, I was like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting." It's always nice when there's a new sci-fi thing that isn't, or like, it seemed like maybe a sci-fi thing that isn't, Marvel or some whatever.
Yeah.
Holy hell! And it starts not great, but fine, and then it's kind of fine, and then it gets so bad so fast.
That's the impression I got from the trailer.
Not like this book, where it starts bad and ends bad.
Yeah, but with brief spikes of dopamine every time I
Yeah.
see the words the Zorba Express.
Ooh,
Zorba-
I
yes.
love that Zorba Express. It looks cool too.
Yeah, but the
Bell-shaped.
Yes, the gorge really
With
is
a big door.
It seems like the perfect example of like prompt based screenwriting, where it's like, give me a quiet place at the Grand Canyon.
So I looked it up, and it's like, apparently, I think the script was on that. What's the fucking
The
list?
blacklist.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
Red
it's
Red
cool.
Reddington's the
Which-
blacklist.
It's so bad. The
Well,
script is
apparently,
ter-
Flight Risk also
It
was on the
becomes-
blacklist.
well, I also think a cool script-
List.
That hit the
a cool
movies
script
release.
does not make for a good movie.
Remember, Bird Box was like a flame across town. Everyone's like, "Did you
Oh,
read the
people
Bird Box
loved
script?"
Bird Box.
I didn't see the movie or read the script because I can't do either.
I saw the movie and it was real stupid.
You know what? I thought
Bye-bye,
I
man.
thought it had
Like,
Bye
kind
bye
of
man rules.
thought it had kind of an interesting premise.
Yeah,
Maybe I didn't know enough about it.
and you're such a big fan of Miles Teller.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
No, it is one of the worst, most cliched, just like garbage. We'll talk later. 'cause
Yeah,
this
so
is
check
not a-
check
this
back
is not
in
a
for
The
our
Gorge
Apple
podcast.
TV. We're gonna talk the Gorge. We're gonna talk
Yeah.
the Silo. We're gonna
Yep.
talk the Foundation and the Ted Lasso.
You remember how long our last Star Wars podcast
Oh
was?
yeah, it was like an hour 40, right? Okay,
Yes, that's
It's
why
a book
I-
where nothing happened.
I broke my chapters up in my notes, so
Yeah,
now I
good,
actually
good,
know
good.
when to talk about.
And we
things.
don't have to maybe read everything we wrote.
no,
down.
no.
most of it.
I
though.
will.
There's a lot of
But
good
you
stuff
two need
here.
to keep it
Keep
in
it in
check
check.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
I agree. You're right. You're
Okay,
right.
so adventure continues, all that shit. Oh my god, what's going on? Jabba the Hutt's dead.
I know
Yeah.
I know what I just said, but in the adventure continues. It's
Yeah.
all the same recap except for the word of Jabba's death spread from planet to planet throughout the galaxy. The news never reached the dungeons of the mudball planet known as Kip. It was there on Kip that Zorba the Hutt had been imprisoned long ago for illegally mining precious gemstones.
Yep.
Yeah, and also this book is for all the shit droids catch. Hutts get way more.
Oh, yeah.
The galaxy
Yeah.
was rid of that vicious, blubbering beast at last. They keep calling him fat and ugly and wet
Disgusting.
too. Yeah.
Still
They're
not as
mean.
bad as the Aqualish.
The recaps are weird because it's the recap of the movies, the previous two books, but then it tells you things that happen in this following book.
Yeah.
But then are it kind of referenced, and then also there's talk of Ken the Jedi Prince having knowledge that could take down Trioculus.
Okay.
Was that brought up?
At some point, no, and I highlighted
no.
that too. That's that's way at the end of the book. But
Yeah.
I wrote down, why does everyone know everything about everyone? Everybody has all the information.
They've all
They
seen
all
the
know.
movies.
They all well even
And read
stuff
the
that-
books.
They read
Yes,
the books.
they read the previous books and also like some supplemental material that we don't have maybe because
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
what does Ken
But
know?
also the last
you find
paragraph.
out later that he knows these things. But
Yeah.
I don't remember any of that in the last book where nothing
Well,
happened.
it starts this book with like a whole thing where like Ken knows stuff. By the way, the droids told Ken things that he can't tell anyone.
Not
Oh,
even
yeah,
Luke.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
that's
even
right.
Luke.
People
Yeah.
are always saying, smart kid. That comes
Yeah.
up like 3 times.
I can't wait to find out what that info is.
And,
I'm so ready.
We find out.
I completely
Right.
forgot about the
Do we?
He knows about Triclops. I think that's
Yeah.
it.
Oh.
Which is in the Jedi library.
yeah, literally
That's what I'm
everything.
saying. The Jedi Library has like
Is there a post service
font
like
of
dropping
knowledge.
things off at the tubular
it's
transport?
some type of surveillance state that records like everything that's happening
They got a
everywhere.
guy in
I
the
guess
in the
so, yeah.
Prophets of the Dark
It's
Side.
insane.
So, Y-Wing.
It starts with a Y-wing.
Again. Oh,
Luke's Y-wing.
I have so much to say about well, not so much, but 5 people
I
fit in
know,
this
I
thing.
wrote that down.
Yeah, same.
Han, Ken, Chip, 3PO, Kate, and R2-D2. That's 6.
And
Here's
R2D2
Cram.
sits in the co-pilot seat next to Luke.
Yeah,
it
and the Y-wing
specifies.
has a socket for astromechs.
Anyway,
What's he doing in there?
Han's
They don't know what a
beautiful
Y-wing is what's happening.
They don't know
no
what
idea.
Star Wars is. And I'll get to it at some point,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of uninspired tech names, including one that has the word surcharge in it.
Sure does. That's
Which
a really
I'll
good
read
one.
through those once we get to the first of these.
Yeah, which is the third paragraph. Well, first of all, we start with the Y-wing chapter. What's called the Droid Fest of Tatooine.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about this.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
big things. Luke's in a Y-wing. Han's Skyhouse is finally done.
Yep.
Yeah, he finished
It's
it.
finished,
In all its bedrooms, and floating
And
beds.
Luke and Ken are flying to the party.
Yeah.
Big house.
Or they're going
party.
to Tatooine to buy a gift.
for the party.
For
Yeah.
the party.
Well, no,
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 I
no.
think
They don't
that-
know where they're going.
They're going towards the party,
Yeah.
and
They have to
Luke
make
is
a detour.
spitballing,
Which-
and then he says, "Actually, you know what? Change our star map to Tatooine, the Mos Eisley spaceport." Which that full phrase is said 4
Yes.
times.
Yeah. Which they go to Tatooine because Luke thinks maybe I can get Han an ultra high density household communication screen.
To which Ken says, "You fucking
He's got-
idiot. He's
yeah,
got
who
2
you
of
He's got
them."
Dope.
2.
Yeah.
Don't you know that? I know everything
Why
about Han
does he?
Solo.
I read about it in the Jedi library that Han has 2 Vizio 32-inch flat screens.
He also, so he decides to get a housekeeping robot for Han. So they go to Tatooine, which is on the outer rim. I don't know exactly where Bespin is.
It's not far. I was looking at maps.
Oh,
last
okay.
night.
So it actually does
It's
maybe
not
make
like
sense.
horribly far. It's like kind of right next to Hoth
Okay.
off the Corellian trade spire.
Right.
But
So it's okay. Yeah, well, because
It's
it's
not a big
we
jump.
know it's close to Hoth because
Yeah.
that's where they
Yeah.
escaped to.
because they
after.
raw dog the flight there.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
But
Well, this is where everyone chimes in, especially Chip, 3PO, Chip the boy-shaped droid.
Of course, he's back.
Chip, 3PO, and R2 are like, that's an amazing idea.
They all think it's-
Housekeeping droid.
Another
They all are
droid.
so interested on keeping the boot-shaped feet on their necks.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they love it.
That they are like, Microchip says, droids make very practical gifts. And keep in mind, 3PO is voicing his support for this. This is going to come up later.
and then Ken says a housekeeping droid isn't like having a wife. It's just a robot.
Yeah, Han
'Cause
has
they're
been a
worried that,
bachelor
like-
all his life. Do you think he'd want a droid around to live with him?
They're worried that Han will like
Fuck it.
well, yeah, but they get I guess
nagged.
yeah, he'd get annoyed by having a wife.
It sounds
and
like
a
Chewie is
female
his
droid,
wife.
which
Yeah.
female droid is a big part of the first chapter.
It's a
too
female
here.
shaped droid.
I wrote down, I was like, oh, thank God. I was worried there wouldn't be some bullshit, unrelated side quest
Oh,
to
no, no,
start
no,
us
no.
off in the beginning.
No.
Because I was reading, I was like, oh, surely them being on Tatooine is how they'll cross paths with Zorba. No,
Nope.
they leave
Not really, yeah,
almost
yeah.
immediately.
They're separate things that happen on Tatooine.
Yeah, the
completely separate from each
Tatooine
other.
arc is to introduce us to the JDTs. It's the most Kojima-esque bullshit.
Jawa
Jawa
droid traders.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's a
the-
couple acronyms and I saw one acronym which I'm sure
Was
we'll
it
know. You'll find out.
HSDs or JTHW?
JTHW. And
we got.
I
that's a
clocked
big
it
one.
immediately. So, you know when people post those things on Instagram that are just like a series of letters?
Yeah.
And it's like, if you grew up poor,
Yeah.
you know what this is.
Or that
so,
tattoo that's all of like a bunch of Creed
So,
lyrics.
for some reason, I'm
I always puzzle them out in my head.
I'm really good at it. And I can usually get it like right off the bat, just looking at I don't know why. I'm very, very good at that.
Yeah.
You have a puzzler's mind.
I clocked this instantly and like audibly said, "Fuck you."
Which this one, listen, this one, it's not a hard one.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
it's gonna
fuck
gonna
off.
come up that a big thing about Jabba's death in Return of the Jedi
Yeah.
is that they couldn't find his will,
Yeah, it's
or
a
he
whole
didn't
legal
leave
thing.
one. It's
Yeah.
illegal, which again, this calls to mind Trioculus' legal right to the throne of the Empire. On whose authority?
right because
In
the
what-
Empire
what
probably
legal
it
entity-
seems like doesn't exist. But
Like, why is Jabba's estate planning like called into question?
he's a crime lord.
This,
Also, Tatooine doesn't have a government.
This whole paragraph right here, it says, you see, when Luke's telling this to Ken, he says, you see,
Because
when
again,
Jabba
everyone
died,
knows everything.
they never found his will, so the government of Tatooine took possession of his palace. For a while, they returned it into the Tatooine retirement home for aged aliens.
Yeah.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
there wasn't enough money in the budget to keep it open.
It's an austerity. Well, also there's a thing where
That's a piece of info I've had in my head for like this entire. I retained almost nothing from these books, but for some reason I remember Jabba's palace being briefly used as a retirement home.
So- and it's not like the idea that it still has a pit
And then,
I know, yeah.
for the Rancor.
Yeah.
And then Ken remembers, didn't Jabba the Hutt also own the Holiday Towers Hotel and Casino in Cloud City? Remembering
Why do
that
you
from
know
the
that?
from the Jedi Library. It says it in the Jedi Library.
Yeah,
Why were you reading about
he's-
Jabba?
And Ken's learned all kinds of things in the Jedi Library. Like, for example, how to repair a droid with a malfunctioning speed mechanism or bats.
Oh yeah, why
Oh,
bats
why
fly
not
upside
bats?
down?
Yeah, fly
Which,
upside-
it's because they're like silicone-based life forms that live in asteroids that don't have any fucking gravity, so there is no upside down
There
or
you
right
go.
side up.
There you go.
Did
Duh.
wait, were you raised by droids in the lost city of the Jedi?
Maybe I have a secret.
Also, don't worry, everyone. There is a domed roof in this book.
Don't you
Yeah.
worry. There's no
I think later in this same chapter, it's also revealed that because Jabba didn't have a will, the government of Cloud City took over his casino. Jabba just
For a little bit,
Jabba's
yeah.
corpse cannot catch a break.
Well-
The government keeps taking.
He wasn't looking after his affairs.
But
know.
also, Jabba is a very, in death, a very Trump-like figure.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a lot all trapped in like legality and litigation.
Yep.
And there's the casino and hotel he owns on Bespin, which sounds like the most Atlantic City like place in the
oh
galaxy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably like a really. When I watch the movies and I see Cloud City, I'm like, what a cool place.
beautiful.
Reading the book, I'm like, you wouldn't catch me dead in Cloud
I
City.
think
It's kinda
Cloud City.
trashy.
I think in the EU, Cloud City is much trashier because it was like. And they
But what
explain-
about the Cloud Police?
So they explain it in this, but I think like the upper level Cloud City, which I think this actually carried over into regular EU stuff, is the top levels where they're all
The
hanging
1%.
out is great. And super
That's where all
nice.
the rich people and the torture
Underneath is
chamber
like
Yeah.
regular Las Vegas.
Mhm.
Okay, upstairs is like where
the Cloud Strip.
the crazy like Chinese billionaires fly in and play
Sure, Lando's
$1
penthouse.
million hands of blackjack or
Yeah, like
whatever.
the Burj Khalifa's up
Down
there.
below is where people are kissing dollar bills before they put them in
Port
the
Town,
slot
baby.
machine.
Okay,
Which,
got
like,
it.
you know,
Yeah.
that makes sense for a city layout. Like a big city.
Yeah, of course.
It'll
Yeah.
end up like that.
Guys, let's stop talking about gas giant Bespin and its liquid metal core, which is actually pretty warm and not hot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
cool. It's you
made
can
of-
kind of hang out in.
Let's go back to Tatooine.
Yes,
And
to
I
the
want
Jawa
to talk
droid
about
traders.
Paul and Hollis's new thing, acronyms.
Yeah.
JDTs. I keep saying JDT. JDTs.
JD Vance.
JD Trader. Because they wrote out calamari and mini sub like 25 times. But
Yeah.
Jawa droid traders, it gets its own acronym, but then they keep sometimes also saying Jawa,
Jawa
droid
droid
I
traders.
don't know
traders,
why. Maybe they like. I mean, maybe because all these books were published within a year. Every single one of these books came out within a year.
Well,
Maybe they were like on a budget or there was something, and they're like you have to keep each book under this page count or
Well,
something. And
oh,
they're like,
maybe-
okay, I know one
Yeah.
way we could get down.
Well, but they also
Acronyms,
make
baby.
the acronym for housekeeping specialist droids, which I think comes up once. HSDs.
Yeah, only at the beginning.
yeah.
I was looking
It
for
said
it as we went
exactly
through.
once.
Yeah.
Also, worth mentioning, the Jawas have a regional manager.
yes,
Yes.
they do.
The little
so-
beasts that steal junk have a regional manager.
This has been kind of clawing at the back of my mind, but it really came into focus in this one. Is like these books are obsessed with making Star Wars shit so boring.
so unbelievably
Just explaining
like,
literally
normal.
all of it.
Like when I saw the
what
word
if everything
cloud
was so
bus,
normal? Yeah,
and they have taxes and driver's license and just like cloud police sirens. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like the most.
Well, taxes in Star Wars is cool.
Imagine if this children's.
Well, okay.
okay. Yeah, all right, whatever.
So Kate.
I wanna
they
talk
meet
about Kate.
KT-18, whose body seems to be made of is the color of pearl.
Pearl, yeah.
Top of the line
Yeah.
HSD. And
Luke
she
tells her, "We're thinking of purchasing you to serve a good friend."
the whole
Yeah.
like talking to Kate is so weird.
It's really like you are property.
Yeah.
Yes, and she's
Don't
like,
get
I
it
am
fucking
property.
twisted.
Yeah.
I go by the name Kate. Kate, said Luke, I like that. We're thinking of purchasing you.
Yep.
And she says that she's served a lot of Corellians and
Yeah, it's-
says most of them are rude bachelors with no manners, but I straightened them out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually like that
Yeah.
when they're scruffy nerf herders.
Yeah,
I'm
I
surprised they didn't
domed them
say
into.
that.
I domed them into.
She's a sex
submission,
robot. She's fucking all these
She's got a
Corellians.
cat o' nine tails. There is also a point later when Han's like, yeah, don't nag, or they say like, don't nag Han too much or he might kill you.
Yeah. Because again, you have no value.
Yeah, Luke says to Kate, he says, well, Kate, if I buy you as a gift for Han Solo, you'd better lay low when it comes to giving him advice about manners and marriage and stuff like that. If you overdo it, he'll probably shut down your power unit and advertise you for resale.
Which, like, also the like dozens of Corellian. Why are you at the Droid Fest on Tatooine if you've served dozens of masters and straightened them out? Did they all try to fucking kill you and sell you to the regional manager of the JDTs?
That shit is coming out of Luke Skywalker's
know.
mouth.
One
Say,
of the
"Listen,
few lines he says,
my
the
friend
friend
might kill
narrated.
you." Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna buy you. Keep in mind, if you're too much of a bitch, my friend
Yeah.
might kill you.
Speaking of, can we talk about 3PO's
Yes,
perception
yes.
of female
There we
Yeah.
go.
choice
There we
real
go.
quick?
I imagine this while he's like looking directly into her ass.
Oh,
Can you read it as 3PO? I know we're gonna
Oh.
get.
excellent microcircuits, superb mobility too. It's rare to find a female droid who's been manufactured with such quality and
Now 3PO. I've read the manufacturing statistics. There's absolutely no difference between the quality of materials used to make male and female droids. I'm sorry if that's a blow to your pride.
that's quite all right, Master Luke. We droids have no pride. That's
Just reminding us.
Seeing the thumbnail, spin janitor shuts down
Yeah.
sexist droid.
Spin janitor Luke Skywalker. Oh my god.
It's like, first of all, there's not male and female droids.
Well, there have to be. Otherwise, how could 3PO
Yeah.
be gay?
what about that one in
guess-
Solo that Lando fucks?
That's still not a female droid. It's a fucking droid that has a.
Have you seen those hips?
Yeah, they are
Come
pretty
on, on the Casellian planet of slaves. Which, don't worry, slaves, just like domed ceilings, also come up again.
Sure do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but they
If
buy.
you, well, they have just come out. If we were reading this part about Kate, if you're able to read between
Yeah.
the lines,
so they,
nice name. We're gonna buy you.
They buy Kate, and then Tusken Raiders attack. And there's a
yes, on
pitched battle.
Banthas.
They
which-
say war slogan. They come over the hill saying
War
war
slogans,
slogans. which
yeah.
I was like, slurs? Is it slurs? War slogans.
They were saying slurs, but not the ones they were allowed to say.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
There's also a line that I was very curious about where Chip shouts, "Watch out, Ken!" And he dodges a Jawa spear.
Oh, yeah.
Who it's only described as the Tusken Raiders having spears. So I think the authors just forgot who
Just
the
gets
bad guys
confused.
were.
Yeah.
Well, also, this is very much like a money changes in the temple thing because you find out that the Jawas are holding Droid Fest on the holy burial ground of the Tusken Raiders.
Yeah.
Of course, they are.
But the Jawas say it belonged to a dead crime lord, Jabba, which apparently this book is just like, and Jabba also owned this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Jabba
it's-
also had this.
He had a wide reach.
And so they say it's legal to hold their Droid Fest there, which everyone's like, oh, well, I mean, we can't argue with legality.
Yeah.
This is Tatooine. It's a law-filled
Yeah, it's famous
planet.
for its laws.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so Ken leads the 4 panic-stricken droids, including Kate, into one of the sand crawlers, and it says Luke fought on, outnumbered and surrounded. And then in a couple chapters when we come back, it says Luke had an excellent plan to deal with his being outnumbered. He ran into the sand crawler. So it's like, why not write Ken led all 5 into the sand crawler?
What about that thing in Glove of Darth Vader about when you're cornered, you fight?
You fight,
Well,
yeah, when you have no
I guess
other
he tried
plan.
that. It's an old Jedi rule of thumb.
yeah, that's right.
All Jedis have large thumbs.
Let's go on to chapter 2, The
Papa-
Return of Zorba.
Yeah.
Papa Zorba's here.
It's your
Easy.
papa, Zorba. That's a line from the book. Attention, Jabba, come in. It's your papa, Zorba.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which in the second paragraph of this chapter, Zorba's imagining his reunite. reuniting with his son. It says, there would be slaves to bathe him every month,
Yep.
relaxing in the pure, cool water that Jabba stole from the moisture farmers of
You-
Tatooine.
You missed
That
missed
actually
all the
almost
rich,
makes
greasy
sense, but-
foods.
Oh yeah, cooked in vats of bantha fat, which
Oh.
that sounds pretty good.
Can you
remember,
imagine you are Porcellus, and you're already cooking for Jabba every day, and then all of a sudden this fat fuck dad shows up.
Yeah.
Well, you've been released.
Son.
You've been released from your servitude.
Yeah.
I
And
guess,
you're
yeah.
you had a little stint working in the Tatooine home for aged aliens making goop, I guess.
I think Porcellus died before.
Oh.
I actually don't remember. I could be wrong, but I do.
Could you
believe
tell the listeners who Porcellus is if they haven't seen that video game screenshot?
I don't think I have to. I think they know who Porcellus
He's
is. right?
Jabba's cook. He's a pig guy,
he's just-
right?
No, I think he's a human.
Oh, I'm thinking of Porkcellus.
Yeah.
Is he like the one from the fucking video game?
Yes, that's
he-
like
yeah.
the main still is that there's just a low res
From like Knights of the Old Republic or something?
Porcelia.
Or is it Star Wars Galaxies? Yeah, it's
It'd
Star
be
Wars
galaxies. Yeah.
Anyway,
He looks janky.
this is heartbreaking because you know Jabba's dead.
Yeah.
And, but Zorba doesn't know. This is a book about a grieving father.
Yep. Who'll go to any lengths to avenge his son.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
also like he's on the cover and it's kind of an awesome cover.
The cover is so
Cover
cool.
is sick.
Yeah, where it's like
I have it
Trioculus
right
clenching his fist and Zorba's there with his fucking beard,
All these
Yeah.
covers are awesome.
It's
Cloud
so
City and
sick.
stuff.
He looks better than Jabba.
He looks great,
Yeah.
like with the braids and stuff.
There's a huge Leia too, which makes no sense.
Yeah, that looks like it's just taken straight out of Return of the Jedi.
Sorry.
Ah,
Sorry.
Oh yeah,
Porcellus did survive. There was a plan. Jabba was sentenced him to death, but he lived and later founded a restaurant with Malakili.
I'm glad Malakili figured something out
I
after the
know.
Rancor's death.
got it. That's
Yeah.
great. So anyway, Zorba's bell-shaped Huttian spaceship, the Zorba
With a big
Express.
door. With a big door.
It's got a big
For
fucking
Hutts,
door.
yeah.
There's a lot of mention of doors and holes being wide enough that we find out that the cantina had its door enlarged by ADA compliancy king Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, he's like big on accessibility.
He's
Yeah.
really big on accessibility.
Yeah. Also, this is so on the nose, but the sound of the Zorba Express landing it wheezes like a sigh from the chest of a dying Hutt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stood out to
so
me
on
too.
the nose.
It's really. I feel like these books, they're written in like an almost. It's almost like a stream of consciousness way where it's just whatever is on the mind at the time is what gets referenced and what gets
I
like.
guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, like he can only think about Hutts as their.
There's
as
a
their
lot about
associates.
Hutts. There's a great one later. It's like people don't like us because we're mean to them.
Yeah.
This is these are all
But
like,
also, we like being
these
cruel.
are all a first draft.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, speaking of the
course.
writing, I do want to issue a sort of a correction on my part. I've had a loose memory somewhere in my head of Paul Davids having a rightward tilt. That's not true to my knowledge. What I'm thinking of
okay.
is a book he wrote, right-brained writing for left-brained people. And I misunderstood that, but I think it's about more type A and B.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
So Paul, apologies. I'll consider buying
you're
one of your
listening.
oil paintings.
Now we're gonna get back to shitting on these.
Oh, we get an appearance from the Tattletale door droid.
Oh
Yeah, but
yeah.
instead it says, "Please state the nature of your business"
speaks
in a very
English.
business-like
Which
tone.
probably sounds like Achuapliki. Got your monkey.
Goodness gracious me.
But because
Anyway, it says
Alright.
Jabba the Hutt no longer lives here.
yeah, Zorba's like, is my son home? He's not.
But then it studies and says, "Are you a Hutt? Indeed, you seem to be a Hutt."
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Sorry, no Hutts allowed. New policy, no exceptions.
Yep.
Good day, sir."
Bye.
And slides back in.
Get the fuck out.
He just bounces. Oh, and then it talks about, let's see, Zorba knew that Hutts were disliked. Imperial officers often snickered when they talked about the planet Varl, the pockmarked planet where the most Hutts lived, which is, this is some Star Wars deep lore stuff.
Yeah. Is Varl the original planet?
It's the original
Okay.
Hutt homeworld.
Yeah.
It was part of the Rakatan Infinite Empire.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
gone. It's gone.
So
No, it was rendered uninhabitable.
yeah, they like poisoned it or something.
I think
right?
like
or did the Hutts?
stars, the two stars that it orbited, like crashed into each other and like destroyed the
Oh.
atmosphere or something.
Because yeah, Nalhutta was like a colony.
Yeah, it was a colony that they moved to, and that became the new
Yes.
homeworld.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he's talking about what is it? The Imperial officers said no alien creature of good breeding had ever been born on Varel.
Yeah.
Such a lengthy.
Yep.
This is one of my favorite passages. Zorba shuddered when he heard insults like that because he considered them lies. Hutts were a proud slug-like species, very generous to their fellow Hutts, even if they were stingy and cruel to everyone else.
Yeah, okay.
And above all, they expected everyone, even mechanical eyeballs, to treat them with respect. It's so much that kid in school where it's like,
Yeah.
fuck you,
Yeah.
you gotta be nice to me. And
It's like kind of a boomer attitude.
it's,
Yeah.
Zorboom. Never mind. Anyway, here's another mention of Mos Eisley Spaceport where you're like, oh, maybe he's gonna run into Luke and Chip and Ken and 3PO and Kate and Art. No,
No.
they're sweating it out.
Who does he run into though? But Grand Moff Hissa.
Who's just at the bar?
Everyone's everywhere.
Yes.
Everyone's everywhere.
This cracked me up though. So there's a wanted poster there. It says wanted by Emperor Trioculus, a Jedi Prince named Ken from the Lost City of the Jedi. Generous reward. And then the Twi'lek alien who looks just like Bib Fortuna asks Grand Moff Hissa about Ken, and he's like, "Sorry, I can't tell you what he looks like.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to."
Yeah, but he asks a lot of good questions like, where does he come from? Did he get his name from Kenobi? Is he a relative of Obi-Wan? And this, maybe because it's so stupid,
Obi-Wan
it
is
went
a
under my
homeless man.
radar.
Well,
Where
yeah,
I was
home,
just
guess,
like,
but-
what? From Kenobi? And I was like, oh, Ken? Oh, are you
Yeah.
fucking kidding
He's
me?
only asking this just to set the whole thing up.
Yeah,
He's asking
yeah,
this
yeah.
stupid, unrelated question
Yeah.
to set up to plant that seed.
It's just
Yeah.
so fucking stupid. It's like Han Solo as in short for handbrake.
Yep. But he throws some gemstones at him.
He's got so many gemstones.
He's got a lot of
That's the whole
gemstones.
thing. Illegally mined
Yeah.
gemstones. He just
He,
has an
that he
infinite
took from the
amount.
mudball planet Kip.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so he finds out that Jabba's dead. He's very sad. And
He's super sad.
he swears in the name of the ancient conqueror Cossack the Hutt that Leia will die.
Another deep lore cut.
Is it? I'm not familiar with
Yeah,
Cossack.
Cossack the Hutt was the one that defeated Zim the Despot in the Zim Wars.
Oh my God.
25,000 BBY.
It is so funny that Zorba comes in through the hut-shaped door and says, "Where's my son?" And everyone gets really awkward. And he said, "I'll pay someone if they tell me where my son is." And
They're
the
like,
entire
"Ah!"
canteen is like,
Yeah.
"I know where he is. I know where it is." Then Zoochberry back on the menu.
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
back.
Tabor.
It's- yeah.
Gives him Zoochberry juice.
Yeah. It also turns up at Han's party for a 6-year-old.
Yep.
Yep. I did have a little note here that just says Zoochberries are back.
Yeah,
As they always
Zoochberries and slavery and domed ceilings are
Yeah.
the main hallmarks of this
Bad
book.
guys love
These
slavery.
Jabba hires a bunch of bounty hunters. They go back to Jabba's palace. They blow up the door.
Yes, with
Just the right size so Zorba can fit through. They're pretty specific
they
about.
blow up the door specifically
With a portable
with an anti-orbital ion cannon.
Which
Is
is
that
like-
not a bit much?
That's like the Hoth.
That's like the Hammer
gun,
of
right?
Dawn.
That's a questionable application of an ion cannon because it's like an
Yeah.
electrical weapon.
Yeah, they're made to like.
Disable systems and
Yeah.
stuff, not cause destruction.
well, so this is the thing: is Hollis and Paul don't know how anything works, especially if it's got sciencey words, but
Yeah.
that doesn't stop them from using it. So
Which
this
also, ion cannons are the one thing they reference over and over
yeah,
and over.
I'm
throughout
gonna
this
I'm
Yeah.
gonna read through now the things in this book that are gadgets. We've heard ultra high density household communication screen, now
TV.
anti-orbital ion cannon, then ion surcharge generators. Now I've got the definition of surcharge here in my notes. An additional charge or payment, a mark printed on a postage stamp, exact additional change, or a postage stamp with a surcharge.
I think they mean the latter. The additional stamp with an additional
Probably, yeah.
charge.
Yeah. That's probably what
Nanowave
the weapon
oven is back. Nanowave stove makes an appearance.
Yep.
Long range macro binoculars. A cooling
Well, that's a Star
chamber
Wars
for preserving leftover food. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yes. Yes.
Cooling
Comar
chamber.
tri-tracker artillery. Turbo laser emplacements. Cloud bus. Cloud police siren. Invisible tractor beam. Soundwave scrambler. Ion explosives, nova bombs, and finally, dunium acid mines, the material used only in the construction of the Death Star until now.
Yep.
And also, apparently, a lot of these designed by Triclops, as we learn later.
Yep, he's an imperial mastermind.
He's a madman, but
Yeah.
boy, can he make a gun.
Oh,
also-
right. That's why they keep him alive because well,
Use
there's
his
like
brain.
another
like the Mandarin.
convoluted reason,
Yeah.
but he like is really good at inventing stuff out of his dreams.
Yes, when he's
Right?
sleeping specifically.
Yeah.
They like harvest the information he mutters
He
or
lives,
something.
in a
Yeah.
Wallace and Gromit house that he's just got a
Yeah.
bunch of like weird Rube Goldberg stuff set
Yeah.
up.
And listen, turbo laser emplacements. I'll take that one. That one's okay.
Okay,
That's normal.
All right, fine. All right. Either way, they use an anti-orbital cannon
Yeah.
to open the door of an abandoned retirement home.
But they tell him that Leia killed his son.
Oh, right.
That's where he swears on the ancient conqueror Cossack the Hutt that this Princess Leia shall die.
It's a really weird description, too. It's like Princess Leia took a chain that she was attached to Jabba the Hutt with, and she threw it around him and choked him with it, and that's how he died.
Well, the Twi'lek says
something.
it happened like this, and then twists his own tentacle around his neck to demonstrate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And also, it's very specific that the bad guys say she did it in cold blood, and she says she did it in self-defense.
Yeah.
It's
Again,
different.
the legality of Star Wars.
Really getting into the rules.
That's
And
the
it's kind
Tatooine-
of, it's neither, really. I mean, it's probably in her best interest to do it, but it wasn't really
I
self-defense.
mean, she also came there with the interest of double crossing him and rescuing their friend that was put on display in his bar.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
The palace is full of ranats.
yeah, there's ranats everywhere.
they talk a lot about the ranats.
Which have you seen what they look like, ranats?
No.
There's
look it
one
up.
in the.
Do they
in
look
New
like
Hope.
a hoojib?
Oh.
I wish.
Oh, are they the little, like,
It's-
kangaroo-y thing?
No, it's just a giant rat.
Oh, okay.
There's one that
Ranats.
shows up in the holiday special, the B. Arthur scene. It's just a big rat,
Okay, cool.
but you never see it on camera because it looked too stupid.
yeah.
Okay. But this is another, they're always dropping little hints.
Little
The
hints?
Davids. Just little tidbits. Like the thing about ultraviolet luminous stones.
Oh,
Yes, how Hutts can see ultraviolet light.
remember that.
Remember that.
It's very important.
Listen, you know what? I'll buy that.
Sure,
I'll buy that like
fine.
as a,
It's fine.
weird race.
It's
they
one
can
of
do
the
something
few
different.
things where aliens are kind of mentioned in a way that shows them as different rather than just a second class
Yes.
citizen.
There's something later that does both of those things that I highlighted.
Yes, I think I have that highlighted
Yeah.
too.
So he finds a droid. What the fuck is the droid's name again?
CB99, yeah.
Who is just a dumpy little astromech. And
Yep.
he says, do you still have all your memory banks, including the file JTHW?
And in case you don't know what that stands for, he tells you in the next sentence, Jabba the Hutt's will. It's so fucking stupid.
Well, they don't specifically
would you
mention...
put the T in the acronym? Would you put the in the acronym?
It's not
they
Jabba
love
Hutt.
doing that.
And also, like, he doesn't specifically say what it's called until, like, way later.
Yes.
He just
Doesn't he
uses
do it?
all he uses all the words in it.
He does, yeah.
And then
They
that's
should
sentence.
learn
Oh, so
that's
it's meant,
Jabba's
what,
will.
is it meant to be a secret or a
I
surprise?
think so.
Good lord.
Can you give us a good Zorba laugh?
Yeah, this is
though?
the first moment that
Oh,
we hear the Zorba
shit,
laugh,
wrong
which
Star
happens
Wars
a
book.
lot.
It's like his signature move.
If you're wondering before we demonstrate what
damn
it
it.
sounds like, it's a laugh so deep and loud that one might have thought he was watching a prisoner being dropped into a vat of carbonite.
Aha! How?
All right.
How?
It's spelled HAWHAW.
I know.
Yep.
How. He also seems to be so much more verbose than his son. He uses a lot of long sentences. and
Yeah.
Yep.
He can't, there's no way he could talk like Jabba and get anything out. It would be like Treebeard.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, now it's time for Han Solo's housewarming
Oh my
party.
god, he did it. He built his house.
This shit
sucks.
rocks. I wrote out
It's
so many
party
things
time.
that happened specifically at Han's housewarming party.
Which we're still on Tatooine when this chapter starts.
Oh yeah.
They're
Oh,
inside,
yeah,
they're
that's
still
right.
inside the
Yeah.
sandcrawler, boiling
Yep.
them like a nanowave oven.
But they leave and everything's fine.
Yeah, why are they waiting?
Because of the Tusken Raiders, I guess.
Yeah, and their war slogans.
I guess that's that. They take Kate, and they go back to
Yeah, all six of them get in the Y-Wing.
get in like
I-
that two-seater Y-Wing.
I actually remembered when I was a kid how stupid. Like I didn't like the Lando apartment stuff as a kid. I was like, this is dumb. This doesn't make any sense. I don't. Why would Lando have this?
yeah.
Oh, having the penthouse?
Yeah, even as a child. Well, not a pen. Oh, not Lando. Sorry, Han.
Han's
Oh,
house.
yes.
Yeah. Oh, but I also forgot Luke gets attacked by bounty hunters.
It doesn't
does?
matter. It
Yeah,
doesn't
he
matter.
kills them with his
It
lightsaber.
doesn't matter.
That's right.
They try to take Ken.
But also, it sounds like he just knocks them over with the lightsaber.
oh yeah,
'Cause in
they
the
never
first
talk
book-
about how
They
he
don't know
chops
what a light-
anybody.
they don't
in
know
the
what a
first book,
lightsaber does,
He
yeah.
he gets he knocks the blaster out of Captain Dunwall's hand.
Yeah.
In this
Yep.
one, he just knocks the guys. It's like a police baton.
Bounty
And even
hunters
when he gets
hit the
trapped,
ground.
he gets trapped behind a metal door, which is one of the greatest and most notable uses of a lightsaber,
Getting
is to
through
cut
metal
through
door.
metal
Yes.
doors.
Yeah.
And instead, he's like, I guess
Gotta
I'll use
find
the
another
Force.
way.
Something else that he barely uses.
Yeah.
Which I guess, like, had anybody thought about cutting through a metal door till Phantom Menace?
Maybe
I
not.
don't think it ever came up.
I guess not.
Maybe they didn't let themselves get in those situations.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything. He cuts through like ropes and
I
stuff.
feel like
Does he have
rescuing
his-
Leia would have been a time to use it, and they didn't.
Does he
Yeah.
have his lightsaber? Well, does he have his lightsaber when he drops into the Rancor pit?
He
No,
shoots into
because
his-
R2 has it.
Yeah.
He goes in with R2
Yeah, it
already
goes
has it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's awesome. It's a great scene.
We've
Yeah.
said also before that R2 seems
Dun.
perfectly designed to serve
Dun.
to serve drinks.
Yes,
That's his prime
and he seems to
directive.
love it
He
too.
seems to love it.
you'll fit
Um,
Yeah, but they meet up
nicely.
They meet up with Lando, who does one of the funniest things possible, which is
sailboat.
Kate looks not Kate, sorry. Lando sees a 12-year-old boy and says, "Who's this short guy?"
Yep.
I like to think he's just a
Short
drunk
guy,
just fucking loaded.
and
But
like,
what is
Who's this short guy?
what's that in the air?
yeah, what's that glistening in the distance?
It's
What's
almost
that?
hard to see Han's space
Ooh,
house, which is
PU.
2 miles away.
What's all this
PU.
brown? What's all this brown haze in the air?
Well,
the braze?
yeah.
It's short
What's
for brown
braze short
haze.
for? Thank you.
It's air pollution.
That is
the
a quote.
ecological thing.
Yes,
in
that's
this
the
book.
environmental message. We've seen whales being killed. We've seen
Yep.
forest fires, and now there's braze, which everyone knows that word.
I'm actually
braze
really-
is bad for Hutts.
I'm-
Braze is actually okay, says Trioculus.
I'm really excited to see if there's a different environmental message in each of these books.
I
'Cause
don't
we're
remember
3
any
for
of that
3.
stuff.
We're 3 for
Yeah.
3.
I mean, this seems to be very much their thing.
Yeah,
It's like
teaching something to
shoehorning
kids.
it in. Yeah.
But Lando says that so Lando basically says, yeah, Trioculus is down there now, mining.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're
And-
using the liquid metal to make guns.
Yes, and that he sent him some messages.
Sent 2 messages.
Two messages.
saying to stop it.
Please stop. But Trioculus doesn't understand the word.
He's
polite.
such an ineffective governor, as we'll soon learn.
Asking him
So is
politely to
Trioculus,
please
though.
shut down and go away.
Yeah.
Can you please stop?
And Trioculus replied saying he'll take over Cloud City.
Yeah. One of my favorite things from the party is the sad-eyed fishman is back, and
Yeah.
he's just annoying everyone.
He's just
being
trying
a
to tell
nuisance.
old
No one
stories.
wants
like
to
an old
talk.
man.
No one wants to talk to him. Yeah, he's like everyone's trying to get away,
It
and
really
like,
hammers forth that they didn't even want him there in the first book.
No,
it was just
yeah.
because things were happening and they needed someone to talk to
The
whales.
description
'cause
of
he
him
just
as-
wants to talk about the Battle of
Yeah.
Endor to everyone.
The description of him as sad-eyed is very because you look at Admiral Akbar, he does not look.
He looks
sad.
like a
No.
fish.
He looks like
Yeah.
a fish.
This-
Like with
the-
big giant
This
fish
book
eyes.
makes me think of Admiral Akbar being played by Paul Giamatti,
yeah.
which, hey, Disney, if you're watching.
Oh, I
I'd
also
love
wanted
to
to
see.
note that Lando can't go to the party right away because he has to go back to the Holiday Towers Hotel and Casino because a
Right.
greasy little Rhodian alien
Yeah.
has
Yeah,
a new system for cheating at
the
Sabacc.
the contempt they have for non-human creatures.
A
wild.
a
Because
stinking Rhodian.
droids too. It's anyone that's not human. It's like they have
Yeah.
the most elementary view. They watch and they're like, so the humans are good guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. Not like this robot, Darth Vader. It's just crazy. Also, again, speaking of droids, they have to remind us what droids are. They're talking about braze, and 3PO says, it's
right.
fortunate we droids aren't organic creatures. At least we don't have to breathe this discolored chemical-ridden atmosphere, which
you.
this is not the last time that it's mentioned that droids don't need to breathe.
Nope.
Nope.
Or the
That-
first.
Nope. No.
Could come up every
What causes
book.
braze,
But-
it's...
The party is
Trioculus.
the party's popping.
There's a
It's
lot of
great
Zoochberry
time.
juice.
There's a lot of-
Zoochberry
yeah,
juice
this is-
flowing.
it-
There's Corellian folk music playing.
There's the most comfortable chair ever
made.
designed.
Yeah.
Ever in the galaxy.
And it's a big pillow, which it's floating, right?
and
like
Leia's just
so
on
many.
it like
She's
a
just laying on
throne or
it.
something.
yeah, which she's not eating, which comes up later, but she's on this
Yeah.
pillow, which also you think like, oh, it's floating like the beds. No, it mentions Han going about underneath her.
Yeah, it's like
so she's floating
10
like 9
feet above
feet in the
everything.
air, just spinning loosely.
You having fun? You having fun,
Yeah.
princess?
He teaches her the space pirate boogie. That's a dance.
And then
That's
they
right.
play Sweet Lady from Alderaan.
And she cries.
He's like, I'm gonna cheer her up by playing a song from her planet that was destroyed 3 years ago.
And she cries.
The description of that is so funny. But instead it brought tears to her eyes as she remembered how the Empire had used the Death Star to blow the entire planet of Alderaan to pieces.
Yeah, I could just picture him rubbing the back of his neck, going, "Hey,
Yeah, but then she starts coughing because of the braise. She
Yep.
says,
Yeah,
"It's the braise."
It's the braise." Which she's not unlike Zorba in that way.
Yeah,
Because he's got problems with his sinuses. He drinks that juice that's almost as
Just
thick
for his
as the
sinuses.
braise
Yeah.
because of the braise.
Also, Chewie's cooking. He's got the apron on.
But yeah, so it's Han, I want to say 38-year-old man,
Maybe
he
older.
opens all his presents in front of everybody.
And they're all like thousands of dollars present. They're all
really
like
nice.
really expensive.
Yeah, what is it? He gets.
Well, his friends are all Corellian bachelors.
There's a lot
So I
of
guess they have a
Corellian.
lot of-
Just fucking. They're probably all leering at Leia up there on that most comfortable chair ever designed.
Yeah.
But yeah, the housewarming gift is great. Nobody was paying much attention to Admiral Akbar, especially when Han began to open his housewarming gifts. Just like this adult man going, "Oh, cool."
You know what you bring someone if you go to their housewarming and you're over like, well, really if you're not
plant
their,
or wine?
If you're not
Yeah,
their
wine,
parent,
for
yeah,
sure.
a bottle of wine basically. I'm gonna say don't even do a plant really.
It's if I go see Lindsay, I'll bring her a plant.
Yeah.
But also I know she
Depends.
likes
That's a
that.
specific a bottle of wine.
Bottle of wine is classic.
Maybe like if you're really feeling generous, you get them like a Home Depot gift card.
We had some friends give us some
Something like that.
cleaning wipes and paper towels and
Great.
stuff.
Yeah,
which is,
great.
It was
Bring
really
a dog.
Yeah. Give him a dog.
Yeah.
or an HSD.
Yes. Which
Because Luke
that
and
does
company
happen.
show up in their Y-wing. They can't park in the garage because the 2 cloud car garage is only for Han's race. Not
racing
It's his cloud car
car.
garage, but they're
Falcon.
not racing cloud cars. They're cloud racing cars.
Yes.
Yeah,
Cloud
and
racing.
There's the
cars.
Model Q Foley and then the Model Z1 Zurst. They're red and blue.
Has he already? Wait.
I made Lego versions of these cloud cars.
I bet you did.
I
Did
thought
they-
they were the coolest thing ever.
They are. Did he already win the cloud racing champion or whatever, or is he
Planning to?
Is that in these books?
It gets mentioned,
Well,
but
they mention it like 10
there's certain
times in this
points
book.
when I'm reading these where I just kind of just
Does it mention
blast
how many
past
time
things.
parts he's going to do it in? How many
no
stand
No.
mention of time
no.
parts. Weirdly enough,
Well, anyway, after he's made Leia cry and have all his weird bachelor friends around and put her on a pillow to spin in the
Yeah.
sky, Luke shows up with a droid that
with the fuckable droid.
uses a firearm inside on a stain.
Yeah, she
See that
blasts out of her
stain up there?
finger.
And then Han squints and goes, "Oh yeah, I guess I do." Bang!
Brand new house. Why is there a stain on the ceiling?
Probably the zoochberry juice that everyone's
guess
flinging
so.
around
Yeah, he's
because they
incredible.
couldn't host the party at the local Cloud Chuck E. Cheese.
Right.
This is when
This is
Han tells Leia that you're gonna have to get used to the fact that I'll be living with another woman.
And Kate starts flirting with him
Yeah.
immediately.
'Cause she
She
can
says,
fuck for
"You're
sure.
the most handsome Corellian cargo pilot I've ever met."
She
Now
can
that
also
Snoke Laron is
smile.
dead.
Yeah. She can also smile.
Sure
It
can.
says programmed metallic smile.
And then with no, like, Leia is just kind of there, but Han says, "Now don't get jealous, Leia."
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
said with a mischievous grin, "Looks like you'll have to get used to the fact that I'll be living with another woman from now on."
And
To
then-
which she replies,
Yeah.
yes, as long as she's a droid with metallic microcircuits, I think I can keep my jealousy under control with an equally mischievous grin.
that's like they got a third. That's
yeah,
what happened.
that is. I think
Yeah.
Leia's like, I'm gonna fuck this thing
I'm
too.
gonna fuck this thing too.
So-
if it's a third or a take turn situation,
Doesn't
or even
matter.
if I just watch, that's
Yep.
cool. Immediately, Akbar tries to tell Ken about how they blew up the Death Star.
You can see
Ken, who knows everything,
Who knows everything, but also
Yeah.
is like a fanboy. Is just not. He's like, fuck off, Akbar.
I
Get
know
the
it's
fuck outta
like
here.
it's like meeting the drummer of your favorite
he
band.
tricks
no
3PO and R2D2.
bassist. Bassist.
Yeah.
I disagree.
No, it's basic. Name like 10 bassists.
Mark Hoppus,
Okay.
Paul
Who don't
McCartney.
sing.
Shoot. I
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, Ken complains about the braise, and then Leia gives him some macro binoculars.
You want to meet in the middle at rhythm guitarist?
Oh, there
I
we
do.
go.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, you
Shake
know
on
what?
that. Yeah.
Keyboardist.
Oh, that's good too. Yeah.
Audio listeners, we just shook hands. We just made good, and we're gonna drink. We're gonna spit in our
Toast-
hands
oh,
later.
that's
Yeah.
important later.
Oh,
Yeah.
slimy, disgusting.
The worst thing in Lando Calrissian's life.
Lando has the worst chapter of his life right here. It's like it's 5 times the worst thing that's ever happened to him happens. to
Which
him in
also,
this chapter,
it's
yeah.
right after the worst thing that ever happens to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll get to
Yeah.
that.
Ken
Anyway,
sees the Zorba Express with macro binoculars.
Ken tricks 3PO and R2 into keeping Akbar company. He's already trained in the arts of getting away from the annoying guy at the party.
Yeah.
Is just making other people deal with it. So Ken, through the macro binoculars,
Yes.
the long-range macro binoculars, sees a strange bell-shaped ship.
What? He says, I think I see a Huttian spaceship.
Why do you know everything?
Well, he says it's shaped like a bell with a big door. And
Because he studied spaceship designs back home. It's shaped like a bell with a big door. It's large enough for a big fat Hutt to get in and out.
so mean. And Leia says, that's strange. The Hutts almost never come to Cloud City anymore.
Shut up. Why do you know that?
Because they used to come to the Holiday Towers Casino.
Which still exists.
What
And
a
hotel.
stupid... Well, it's because they don't like those free-spending Hutt gamblers.
No.
Yeah.
It's too reputable now.
Yeah. Which there's going to be a dumber sounding attraction name coming up.
Oh,
yeah.
Real soon.
yes,
you know what
I'm
it is.
aware
hinted
what
at
it is.
They hinted.
Yeah.
It's like a teaser.
They
Yep.
tease a couple things. Like, you don't even know which planet from the
Yeah.
original trilogy they're going to go to next.
This has honestly like more of cliffhangers than any of the books before
As
this.
opposed to the previous book, which had no cliffs.
No cliffs.
No.
This is just a flat
Just
floor.
Just like Kansas.
Kind of just
Yeah.
a circle.
But Luke flips a button. He sees Zorba Express written on the side of that bell-shaped ship.
Convenient.
It's
The only
funny-
ship we've ever seen that has a name written on it, I
Well,
think.
that's the thing is,
Yeah, I
wanna
guess so,
talk
you're
about, I want to talk about names. I want to talk about art, literature. I'm trying to find it because previously they've gone out of their way to not name anything. Like they had the Imperial Starfighter 714D. They had the Calamarian mini sub. They had all this shit.
It's all like what it is. It's just like
exactly.
what it is.
But I'm
yeah.
trying to find. Yeah, here we go. Where's the names? Where's the names? I took too many notes on this stupid book, even with a short turnaround of reading it. Either way, they don't name anything except for the Zorba Express and Han's cloud racing cars.
Yes, which
Oh,
have
yeah,
very
yeah.
specific like manufacturer names.
It makes
or
me
something.
wonder
Yeah.
if Paul Davids is like a classic car guy.
I
Maybe.
did write down doubles as best.
I got triples of the Nova.
Yeah, because they mention that he has 2 so many times.
Yeah, and like this is like a contrast to like Heir to the Empire, where every ship has a name. There's like Star Destroyers called like the Devastator and the
Chimera.
Endeavor and the Chimera.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everything, even the smaller ships have names.
The names in this book are so arbitrary and
yeah.
stupid.
Basically, Zorba arrives. He says,
The
I
Holiday
wanna-
Towers Hotel and Casino.
talks to Lando. He says, I want to play you for Cloud
Well,
City.
first he
Yeah.
goes up in a polished gem-covered droid, says, "May I help you,
Earn,
sir?"
Yeah, I had that because I was like, is that
Earn.
like a hesitation sound?
I didn't know either.
Like going,
He doesn't want to misgender
said-
the Hutt.
earn. May I help you earn, sir? Like URN. Like something you put ashes in.
he's basically like hustling. He's losing a bunch of gemstones, which apparently are like a currency that's accepted everywhere.
Apparently,
People want him real
yeah.
bad.
So Lando goes down
Maybe
and
they're
he's
like
like,
Beanie Babies.
if
They're
I-
so popular.
what does Lando stand to gain? Because Lando thinks he's going to beat him easily. 'cause he's
Lando,
the
I think,
best
just wants
at
to-
Sabak.
Yeah, he just wants to chase this hustler out because he doesn't.
Yeah.
He's trying to run like an above-board establishment.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it says like if you lose, you agree to get out of the casino, leave Cloud City, and never come back. That's it.
And
Yeah,
then
he
on
says
the other,
well, if you lose, you have to leave Cloud City and never come back.
which is crazy, Lando stands to gain nothing from
Zero.
this and lose his entire livelihood.
So this is I have written down that Lando, the owner and operator of a casino and also the governor of a city, is also a gambling addict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He keeps ruining his life
Yes.
over a game of cards just because he can't. It's like Marty McFly being called chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's this insane character flaw that this general of the rebellion has, where it's just like, yeah, he's a great man, but he will trade away everything important to
He'll
him
play you
over
for
a
it.
game to someone he's never met, especially the father of a crime lord.
Yeah. Which speaking of Hutts real quick, there's a little passage where Lando knew that There was no way to reason with a Hutt. The only way to get the better of a Hutt was to trick him, outsmart him, or wound his pride. But in Return of the Jedi, almost every scene with Jabba is somebody reasoning with him.
Yes.
To which he makes deals.
Yes. But then, so...
They're like, yeah, can you pay me this much for the bounty? Sure.
You think, Zorba's like hustling,
Yeah.
right? He's
Yeah.
pretending to be bad so that when Lando comes down. And like, I don't know, maybe.
Not really.
But it doesn't actually come up because he insists on playing with his own deck, a
Yeah.
thing you can do at any casino.
After
really.
they make the deal.
It's
well,
not
I
just
know.
any casino.
I know. Well, they spit in each other's hands or something, and then
Yeah.
shake, and Lando's disgusted by it. But then they like sit down to play, and Zorba's like, "Actually, here's JTHW, which says that I own this now.
Jabba the Hutt's will.
So we have to play with my deck." And Lando's like, "Fuck, I
Yeah.
guess you're right."
I guess me,
then-
the leading political power and
Yeah.
owner, like legal owner of this establishment.
And then in one of the very few like setup and payoff things that happens in this series, there's ultraviolet stuff.
He's got
on
marks
the back
on
of
the
the
cards.
cards.
He's cheating,
so-
yeah.
yeah,
He's
which,
cheating,
like, you know what? I feel like that can fit in Star Wars. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
with
you'd
the
think
alien
the
invasion.
casino would
like,
check.
he holds
but-
no leverage over Lando.
Nope.
None.
The
None at
actually the
all.
only thing is, like, in all his years of friendship with Han, he is clearly still so irritated that he lost the Falcon in a game of Sabacc. And it says, because he scratches his chin, thinking it over, recalling the time he'd gambled away the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
but
I think
Lando
I'll
had
do it
learned,
again.
Yeah, but Lando had learned a lot about Sabacc since then. In fact, he was now the best player in Cloud City, second to none, now that Snoke Laron was dead.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, Zorba spits in his hand and says, "Shake on it," and then Lando's heart sank. He held up 2 fingers like a junior galaxy
Oh,
scout.
right, yeah.
What if I just say, "Cross my heart and hope to die"? And then he says, then you
you
will
will
die.
die.
Yeah.
Reluctantly, Lando spit into his own palm, and in the most disgusting moment of his life,
Yep.
Lando clasped Zorba's scale-covered hand and shook it.
Apparently scales, yeah.
yeah.
Why-
And this is Lando who almost fell into the pit of Carcoon,
I know.
which grabbed his leg and he went,
Also, scales. Do Hutts have scales?
No.
his scaly hand. Does it say? Oh, you're right.
No,
His
he doesn't
scale
have
No,
covers-
they're just like rubbery gross.
Yeah.
Also, to return to the thing about you can't reason with a Hutt, Zorba makes deals in this book when someone's like,
I mean,
"I'll tell
yeah,
you for
it's-
5 gemstones," and he says, "I'll give you 2."
Just because you write something doesn't mean you have to follow it in the rest of the book.
Well, it's also like the old rule of thumb that
Yep.
if you have no other option, you have to attack.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you talking? That doesn't even
Yeah.
happen in the same book.
I also wanted to bring up that the file that CB99 have is not like a document. It's a hologram
Oh, yeah, it's
of
a
Jabba
video.
reading his will.
It's Jabba jacking off, and he goes, "Not that one."
Oh, my son.
It's Java solo mail videos.
JOI, open file JOI.
But in this Jabba J.
JTHJOI. CEI.
Jabba the Hutt jack off instruction.
No,
That's what
don't
it
lay
stands
that one,
for.
CB99.
But
What whoop zeep corb?
in the hologram, he leaves the palace on Tatooine, his hacienda in Mos Eisley, and the casino
right.
and hotel
Yeah.
to his father. But I was like, I want to see this hacienda.
Yo soy
know.
Jabba El Hutt. Hacienda. That's so
Oh my
fucking
So he
God.
loses
Well-
it. He loses everything.
He loses everything.
He
you
loses
think,
fucking
you
everything.
think surely he's like, pack up the penthouse. I want you out of here. And there's no like, I gotta talk to Han or Luke or Spin. I need
just
to like
goes with it.
fix this. He just goes, well, I guess I'm done here.
Yeah, I had highlighted his foolish bet had wrecked his life, which just the way that wrecked sounds so like ruined. Just say ruined. Like his foolish bet had wrecked his life is such a weird way to.
Also, here's a picture of Lando having just lost everything.
That's so funny.
Oh no!
Lando, no.
This picture is like burned into my head.
Yeah.
Where he's like, what the fuck is
These are stories about self-defeat more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like Dunwall, like saying things that he recorded, or Trioculus constantly getting fired upon by his own stormtroopers,
blown up.
or Lando betting away his entire life and his house. It's crazy. It's just like Shoot, how could I have seen this coming?
Which goes into a fucking amazing chapter where, like, it's kind of the party's wound down, and Lando calls Han on his, like, high-density screen. He's
Yeah.
like, listen, Han, I'm leaving the planet.
Yeah,
I
bye.
can't make it. I lost
Hey,
custody.
remember when you ruined my life by winning it off me?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
did it again.
Yeah. Also, Zorba the Hutt's gonna kill Princess Leia.
Yes, you
you
should
might want to
probably
lay
get her outta
low.
here.
Anyway, I'm thinking about going into the amusement park business.
Yep. And then he just hangs up.
He just.
So they're like, so Han is like, okay, everyone, quick. We got to get out of here. There's like a price on Leia's head. The guy is right over there. And then Ken runs in. Wait, everyone, stop what you're doing. Kate fell.
Yeah, it's like out of fucking nowhere.
They're like,
Kate's
what? And she's like, guys, she fell.
And they're like, what are you talking about?
She fell
into
like,
the fucking
She
clouds.
was cleaning a spot on the observation deck and tumbled over.
Just fell over the rail.
Which, doesn't she clean with a gun?
Yeah.
Where is she trying to reach?
I don't know. It was probably
don't
like a
know.
sexy. I'm guessing
Oh, oops.
in Paul and Hollis's mind.
Yeah.
It's not written here, obviously, but I am guessing there was a fantasy of like a maid, a droid dressed as a maid,
Yeah.
French
Yeah.
maid, seductively bending over the balcony, revealing her holes
Yes.
Yeah.
Of which there are
Her
many.
rivets.
to someone.
Of different sizes.
To someone who might be into that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
and,
us.
And then she slipped.
Oops.
Yeah, but she like then is falling endlessly into space.
It's
'cause
so
a
funny.
Sky house.
And then Luke's like, I'm going after her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Luke. He's like, I'm not losing that hole.
Like, I just bought this thing. Who cares? I'll go buy
yeah.
another one.
So we see a couple references to the movies, the Star
Mm-hmm.
Wars movies, because 3PO is very jealous that he's not getting credit for vouching for Ken's idea,
oh yeah.
because he's like, I hope they're saying that the idea for the HSD was great, and Ken says the idea just popped into my head, and they both give him a pat on the back, and 3PO, that catty bitch, says,
Yep.
I hope you will give all credit where credit is due. I was the one who finally persuaded Master Luke of the merits of Ken's idea. Yeah, and then he's pointing out that, Chewie and Han are disgusting bachelors. Then he says, without a housekeeping droid in 2 weeks, your house would end up looking like the trash compactor on board the Death Star.
And then they
Do you remember when you were trapped in the trash compactor?
Yeah. No, they remember.
Yeah, and then they're talking, and also Han and Leia are kissing because they are the
They kiss
epitome
a
of
lot.
like
They do a
those
lot
two
of
friends
kissing.
in like a friend group where you're like, are you guys a thing? Are you
Yeah.
not a thing?
Yeah.
I've been that friend before. You try to like kind of hard launch, but then hard retract. It's like a constant like I don't know what to make of this. Like
You
you're
hook
doing
up
couple
after, you
things
hook up
now.
after every party, but like you're not really.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
commitments.
You
Yeah.
No
never
labels.
you never really know what kind of version of the relationship you're gonna get at any given social
Uh-huh.
gathering.
Yeah. Every once in a while, you get into a really big fight, but it's kind of weird because you're like, should we be fighting? Is this even?
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, did I make that look too much like we were thing? Because now I got this other thing, and it's,
Yeah, and I actually like this person.
I actually like that. It's just
And you're
becomes
annoying.
really messy and weird, and then you fall off the balcony of a sky house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Kate falls.
So Kate falls after they find out that Zorba's back, and he wants to kill Leia.
Yeah. The murderer of his son.
Yeah. So also there's the phone call between Lando and Han. And then it says
Lando?
Han, it's the A sounds are
Okay.
confusing me.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, the point is after the conversation it says click, the screen went blank. It was the end of the message. It wasn't a message, it was a phone call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It-
He just
All
hangs
right.
up on him. He says, I
But-
packed my bags and I'm leaving Cloud City. Zorba's in charge now.
yeah.
So-
Goodbye.
Luke and
Luke and Leia go and rescue Kate. And then they're like, look over there. It's Trioculus' factory barge.
Yep.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
But Luke, he thinks that he's got a plan, right?
Yeah.
So he triggers the hyper accelerator. Now they were zooming faster than a droid would fall.
Yep.
Really?
So-
Hollis, was that you or did Paul get on that?
And then it
That
also
sounds
like
a
That's a Hollis.
it
a Hollis one
recaps
for sure.
Empire Strikes Back again, where he was rescued falling in
Yeah.
Cloud City once.
yeah,
and-
dangling
And
underneath.
now
It's not the
he-
same. It's
now
not what
he used
happened,
this-
but-
No, the Falcon was waiting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And that would also recognize
they-
the existence of another tube in Star Wars.
so they get
which
shot down. I think.
hitherto had not.
Good tube.
They get shot down, right?
Oh yeah, their
So they
little
do
car gets
rescue Kate.
blasted.
She gently
Yeah, they get her,
falls into
yeah.
the cushion of the backseat. What are they flying? The cloud car
It's like
convertible?
a rental
Oh,
from
that's
the
right,
government. It's a
Lando-
government issued car.
Yeah.
Lando gives them the casino beamer.
Lando.
Whatever. I'm thinking.
Lando.
Lando.
All right, fine.
Lando Calrissian.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's hard for me. You know,
So
reading's tough.
they get like shot down or something. They crawl into a pipe. The pipe closes
Yeah,
immediately.
stormtroopers grab Leia and like steal her away.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
kidnap
so
her.
there's a laser defense thing, and then Luke once again showing that he's fucking useless. Luke swerved to dodge the blast, but he was much better at piloting spaceships and land speeders than cloud cars.
They were hit.
What?
They were
That's
hit.
what it said. They
Yeah,
were
it's
hit.
like, whoa! He doesn't know how to drive stick.
Oh, and then so they're in the tube, Kate, the droid, and Luke, and they like pump it full of poison gas, which then Kate is more than happy to remind us, you're an organic creature. You have to breathe.
And he goes, oh shit.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. And then so he can't figure out how to get out, or he's like trying to hold it. I don't even remember. But this sentence was just like, this is a sentence in this book. But then the Force was with him.
Yes. Yes. He held his breath, closed his eyes, and concentrated.
Yeah, Luke knew how to move objects using the Force. He'd learned how to do it in Yoda's swamp back on the planet Dagobah while training to be a Jedi Knight.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
They get
But
out.
then the
They
Force was
escape.
with
Use
him.
the force.
He
Yeah.
figures
And
it
no
out.
one even bothers to like stay behind and check. Because
No.
later Trioculus is like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah, he like Bond villains it.
Yeah.
Or it's like, I've set this deadly trap. Bye. I
Also,
hope you
this
don't
wording
get
is
out.
real weird.
Is it about the pipe and the tube
the
and the
clamp
nozzle?
holding the cover shut began slowly to slide loose.
Oh.
Oh,
It began slowly to
There's
slide
also,
loose.
there's also blatant typos in this book.
there's a couple things where it's just words put together.
I don't know about this one, but I know when we
I
were
think that's
reading,
like the format.
I didn't mention it, but when we
Maybe,
were
yeah.
doing the like
No, it wasn't the
audio,
same.
whatever we're calling it, when we were reading the book,
Dramatic reading.
dramatic reading, I noticed there was just like a like Vader was spelled like Videa or something. There's just like a
Oopsie.
straight up.
You're
and that
right
was
about
the
the first
scan
draft
of the
nature.
book.
Yeah.
Also, another really weird bit of writing is poisonous gas flowed from the factory through the valve, down a pipe, and directly into the tunnel.
Went from a pipe
They
into a
descri-
pipe, through a pipe.
They get
That's
so
why they have to say
descriptive.
JDT, is
They
because
get
they're writing
so
that.
descriptive about certain like useless nonsense, and then like other stuff. It's like, so that happened.
Well, it's later, like when Ken
There you
is
go.
running around Cloud City
Yeah.
and just takes in a show through the window.
Yeah.
Oh, at the house of
Masquerade?
Mask or
Yeah,
something? that
yeah.
never ending. Yeah.
So this all is all happening, and then it just goes back to Han and Ken just like looking at race
Chap-
cars.
Showing off his cars.
Han in this book,
That's where I
thought
wrote
he-
doubles his best.
I thought he was I thought he was a dude's rock kind of guy, but instead he's just a fucking loser.
He's a
He's
dork,
Like,
yeah.
so it's pretty cool. I got these cloud
So
guys.
here we
That's the
go.
Model 1.
He hasn't entered the Cloud Car Racing Finals yet. He says, if I enter the Cloud Car Racing Finals, he'll probably drive his blue Karth custom
Yeah.
Model Q Foley.
This is my favorite. This was like, yeah,
That's
yeah, I
where
don't
he
know.
doubles his best.
It's like the fucking like throwing the football over the mountains or whatever from Napoleon Dynamite. It's just like if I enter the Cloud Car Racing Finals, I'll probably drive the blue car. The red car is cool too, but I'll probably drive the blue car.
He's Uncle Solo.
Yes,
oh, here we go. And
it
then-
is. It's just uncle behavior. It's
Just such a fucking
they
bum.
have okay,
So-
with the exception of maybe C-3PO, they have no handle on these characters. They do not know how any of them.
Not
And
at all.
C-3PO is perfect.
C-3PO is perfect. And
When he demands credit, I'm like, that's the closest they get to
Yeah.
the movies.
And I did say in the last one, Trioculus, maybe they have a handle on because he's so fucking all over the place and insane.
He's
that it
consistently
almost
inconsistent,
works
yeah.
because
Yeah.
of how insane he is.
So this was great. So
Yeah.
Ken asks how old you have to be to drive
Oh.
to get a license. And Han says 18 for humans, 20 if you're an alien.
Why?
Except for Biths.
Yep.
They let Biths drive at age 10 because they're advanced bipedal craniopods who reach maturity at a young age. And
End quote.
that's the only exception to all aliens.
Yep.
Is
Yeah,
that
what-
Biths can
Why
start at
20?
5.
Also,
What's
we're
the-
seeing a
know.
classic sci-fi writer trope, which comes up in almost everything
Oh,
you'll ever
Fweep?
read. No,
Yeah, is it Fweep?
No, no,
I think
no.
it's Fweep.
it's children with the minds of adults.
Yeah. Well, he knows a lot and he's tall for his age.
It's deep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about
Who's the short
Biff,
guy?
the Biff thing. It's
Oh.
like, yeah, they're 10, but they're actually
Oh.
fully mature.
You're not
Yeah.
talking about precocious. You're talking about anime.
Yeah.
I'm talking about anime stuff, but it's like a trope in a lot of old sci-fi. There is a
Yes.
real strain of let's call it just I don't know, pedophilia.
Legal
Yeah, it's called pedophilia.
That sci-fi and anime writers are fascinated by.
Yes.
And I'm not Paul and Hollis. Look, I'm not accusing you of anything here.
No.
I'm just saying you're a part of a proud tradition that is very upsetting and strange and finds itself into
It
many,
fits the
many
bill.
different
It
sci-fi
fits
and
the bill.
anime
It-
things. Yeah.
really does. The whole idea of aging quickly. And Twilight.
Twilight.
Stephanie Meyer is also on that train.
Real quick, Han has a beeper.
Sure does.
Yeah,
Like
he had
a
it muted.
90s drug dealer.
When they call it the machine. Yeah. Oh,
Well, he calls it a
fucking-
beeper.
Who checks the
He says
machine?
my beeper was off.
Yeah, he
My beeper was turned off, so we didn't get the message until Chewie
He just has
here
a
checked the
beeper?
machine just now.
Yeah.
there's
The
also
answering machine.
Yeah, that's right. The answering machine.
It's a distress call from Luke. His
Well,
beeper
also
didn't go off.
he's wondering. So what happened is the droid fell off the building. Luke and Leia rush out into a car and then race away, and then hours go by before
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
"Where are
Oh,
they?"
I should
And
check my phone.
that leads to one of my favorite interactions, which is Ken suggesting maybe they decided to stop off in Cloud City for a bite to eat. And Han says, "I certainly doubt it. There was a ton of food at my party." And then Ken says, "But Princess Leia hardly touched a bite of your Corellian cooking." "Why was that?" Han asked, somewhat hurt. "She says Corellian food is too fattening," Ken explained. "Oh yeah?" Han said, glancing down to see if he was getting a pot belly. "You don't see any fat on me." What a fucking loser. Also, why is this conversation even happening? He's like, "Yeah, I would have joined the cloud racing thing if I had this blue M1 QZ Zhurst." And he's
Yeah.
like, "Well, Leia doesn't like your cooking."
It doesn't come up that much as like some of the other weird shit, but like they are kind of like there's a lot of weird stuff about like gender roles. Like
Oh,
with the
constantly. Yeah.
droid, and then like anything with
Chewie
Leia
wearing an apron.
and Han.
Twice now.
Yeah, Han's a man's
like-
got to do what he's got to do.
Which
Yeah.
is build a house. The only reason this is
Shirk your
inaccurate to
duties.
their version of Han is it should be a floating trailer.
yeah,
Yeah. He's
Like-
a fucking sleazebag.
yeah.
He really is.
Also,
like, I picture him with like a stained like wife beater looking down. He's like, "I don't see a problem
That's why he's
with
got
my
a droid
Corellian
that shoots
shoe."
stains with lasers.
Yeah.
There's a great little piece of storytelling at the end of this page here. It says, Han put a hand on Ken's shoulder and said, "Wait here, kid. I'll be back in a flash." But Han didn't come back in a flash.
Yeah, a lot of that. There's also, I think it's from this chapter. It's after, so Ken, like, accidentally takes a car. He does the
He does the
like,
Anakin thing.
or the Ewok thing.
Oh, you like Paplu when he takes the speeder
where
bike?
they just like climb on and then like accidentally hits a lever
Well, he's
and
sitting
goes
there, he's
flying.
going,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
So
he's
he-
not a bit.
He gets arrested by Cloud City police.
Well, should mention that he spent many hours reading about how to fly cloud racing
Well,
cars.
yes, of
and he
course he
doesn't
did.
crash it. First, he immediately does some wide loops, spinning rolls, and upside
Oh,
down
right.
maneuvers.
Yeah.
all for real.
Yeah,
all
all
for
for real.
real. What the?
Yep.
Am I supposed? What?
It's like how 6-year-olds talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
I
did
did
it
it
for
all for real.
real.
That makes me think it wasn't done for real. Anyway, he gets pulled over because it's a 12-year-old.
Yep.
Invisible tractor beam. Comes out
and
of the
then-
cloud, comes out of the police car.
Invisible tractor beam.
So the Cloud police are on his ass, and then this is just the weirdest. Again, just more bizarre writing. And so they arrested Ken for reckless driving without a license. His destination: Cloud City Police Headquarters.
What a
Sometimes,
reveal.
it's
And
written
so
like-
they did this.
And also, that's when they like Trioculus offered a big reward for a Jedi Prince named Ken who's been traveling with Luke Skywalker.
And don't worry. If you're worried, like, maybe it's a different Ken. Zorba has the same thought, and he will verify.
Yes, yes.
Also, Han now, in the span of like an hour or two, has lost his want-to-be wife, his best friend, his housekeeping robot, and the 12-year-old that he was asked to look after.
The house is
And then
empty.
the house is
It's just
empty.
Han and maybe
With a
Chewie?
bunch of leftovers. Well, he's got 3PO because he says,
okay.
and he's frantic. It says, and he says,
Yeah.
3PO, take my red cloud racing car, the model X1 Zhurst.
Bring
Why?
R2 and chip
There's
with
only
you.
one left.
All the
Ken took
droids.
the other one.
Yeah.
All the droids get in one
Yep.
and just go.
I
So-
guess. Yeah, that's right. Chip, the boy-shaped
Yeah,
robot I
yeah.
forgot about.
And then is this the first Trioculus?
Yeah.
Moment?
So we
He's-
cut back,
he's
and
been here on the
obviously,
periphery.
obviously
Yeah.
Trioculus is there too, because everyone is always in the same place in
Yeah.
these books.
yeah.
But he has his private his private chamber in his factory barge.
Has
modern-
Leia brought there.
Modern Imperial art. He has Leia brought there. Yep. He's
Yeah, with
trying
all
to,
her strong but
his
soft
lovely
features.
captive.
He
Yeah.
like right off the bat tells her he loves her.
Oh, he's like, I love you.
Hey, a little relationship advice, okay? If you have a crush on a woman, you're gonna want to tell her you love her ASAP.
Especially if you're in marching band.
Yeah, especially if you're in a marching band. Even if you like have never actually spoken to her before, other than like
You've leered at her through a screen.
maybe you sent her some Facebook messages that she never responded
You've poked
to.
her.
You've poked her on Facebook. There it is. You've poked her on Facebook.
So cool.
Tell her you love her. Get it all out on the table. Tell her you
Yeah.
love her.
Well, she says back to him, she says, you're a murderer, you're a monster, and he takes a few steps closer,
Oh,
which if you're in
God.
love with a
Yeah,
woman and
yeah.
you've just told her you love her and she didn't receive it well, what you're going to want to do is take a few steps towards her.
Slowly start walking
And
towards her.
say this.
He says,
Say this to her.
is it so wrong to be a murderer
Yep.
Or
or a liar
Or-
an inhuman monster? I may be all of those things, but I still have a heart. Which
Yep.
later he says, am I really a monster though? Or is that Zorba? They're so similar.
I don't
She
re-
says
yeah.
your heart's as dark as carbonite, whatever, and then I killed that Jabba in self-defense, yada yada. Basically, Trioculus is trying to court the leader of the winning side of a war by offering to make her queen of the losers.
Yeah.
Right.
He says, I love you, Leia.
I am
I
so-
want you to marry me and become the queen of the Empire.
I am so confused by what role the Empire holds. Because earlier it said that
Yeah.
on Tatooine, they like make something owned by permission of the Empire. Which it's like, why does the Empire give them permission
Here's-
to do things on Tatooine?
The only way this makes sense to me, and this is done in like the other early EU books, so much better. But like, obviously, blowing up a Death Star, he killed the Emperor and a lot of the High Command or whatever
Yeah,
too. But
big
like,
blow.
it's still like all the infrastructure and bureaucracy is still in place for the Empire.
Yeah.
So like, it gets overthrown, but there's like a lot of the like Moffs and Grand Admirals and stuff like take their kind of armies, their ships or whatever, and just go to the Outer Rim. Or, like,
Right.
hang
And they just
out.
cause trouble.
Yeah, so they have like certain worlds.
understand
certain
that,
worlds
yeah.
are under Imperial, which
Yeah.
like that kind of makes this make more sense if that's what's happening. But
And
it
I
still
guess-
doesn't make.
But also,
any
like,
s-
is the Empire in charge
Right,
of Tatooine?
yeah.
Otherwise, why could Luke just go for Droid Fest to buy a woman?
Which
Yeah.
I guess, like, in A New Hope, the Empire occupies Tatooine.
yeah,
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember a stormtrooper on a bantha.
yes,
That's about it.
Dewbacks. It's Dewbacks.
Oh, what are
They go,
banthas? Oh, banthas are the woolly ones.
"Oh."
Yeah. Sorry. I had a plastic one where the tail would move up and down. Do you have that?
Was it like a Lego one or a
No, no,
toy
no, it
one?
was like a
That's
toy.
cool.
Oh, yeah,
The
and then-
Dewbacks are cool.
So then he's just like,
Sounds bad.
okay, she hates me, but I feel like if given enough time, she'll renounce the alliance and
Yeah.
join me.
Yeah.
Why? She says that she can't look at him because she's unable to bear the sight of him.
And he's like, it's temporary.
And we get another strong but soft
Because he
features.
looks like
That
shit
comes
now.
up
a lot about
Yeah.
strong, but
Yeah.
which, like, listen, I would not say Carrie Fisher is at all a harsh woman.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty
Maybe
soft.
striking, but soft features.
Yeah,
I think
soft
that's part
features.
of what makes Princess Leia such a great character in A New Hope is that she does look like she wouldn't get her hands dirty, but
Mm-hmm.
becomes like a leader of a rebel alliance.
Yeah.
You know, when next you see her, she's on Hutt. She's dressed for battle.
Yeah.
basically. But Paul and Hollis are like, this hatchet-faced woman actually has some soft features somehow. She's got like a Cro-Magnon brow.
Who's pretty despite being a battle axe. It's like,
it's
what are you
crazy.
doing?
Yeah.
Oh, there's Trioculus
I-
getting slapped.
I forgot she slaps
oh,
him. Yeah.
here's the.
Who's that in the
yeah.
background?
I think that's his.
Oh, that's a statue.
Is that a new
I
guy?
think. It's just a statue of a
Oh.
weird guy.
It's the thing.
I wrote this.
Or no,
It is
not the. Is it the brick?
It's the brick, yeah.
I wrote down a few more things. There can still be great beauty in a dark heart. Nothing to say about it. It's just.
Beautiful. Yeah,
Great writing.
he's got the soul of a poet.
And then, I love you, Leia, he said in a fiery voice. I want you to marry me and become the queen of the empire.
you make him sound like Joseph in King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Do you want to go burn stuff?
I love you, Leia. Okay.
When we get back to chapter 7.
Yeah.
Which
Back
also
to
the last
Zorba.
chapter was called A Tale of Two Captives.
Yep.
Very Dickensian.
Yep.
So one is Leia, the other is
Boy.
Ken?
Yeah, Ken.
Ken.
Yeah.
because he's went to jail.
Yeah, he's in jail.
I don't know. I don't think being held captive is the same as being put in jail
Being
for
arrested.
driving without
Yeah.
a license.
Yeah, I mean he's rightfully detained. You know,
Yeah.
they were in the right.
Oh,
okay.
so we get back to chapter 7, the battle for Princess Leia, where Zorba
yeah, I
is worried.
guess.
He's worried about the environment. He's like, this braise is an issue.
Well,
Because it's making him sick.
he's worried about it because it affects him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know,
and his livelihood, if he's running this casino, the tourism's going to suffer.
basically, yeah. So he has to drink a viscous allergy medication. That's that's
some kind of, like,
that's thicker. The braise is
tea, I
almost
don't-
as thick as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
It's
braise
sour
is
brew.
just fully just accepted as a thing. Brown haze.
Yeah.
Yep.
The braise.
Everybody says it. This is where
Did you see
Tabor
this?
comes in with information that's worth at least 5 gemstones.
That's right. Did you
Yeah.
see the quote? But old Hutts like Zorba knew a lot about human child psychology.
Okay,
wrote
yeah,
that down.
I highlighted that
I wrote
because there's a few sentences that come up about
the
how
fuck was that?
Really weird.
about Hutts know a lot about little boys.
Such a shame a boy like you got into trouble.
He's one of the alien boy
Yikes.
sellers, right?
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
He is 100% an alien boy seller.
And then, you know,
He offers
Ken
him cookies and milk.
bantha milk and cookies. And Ken goes, I could use some cookies.
Yeah, so he
You know
has
what?
Ken
Honestly-
brought to him. From the
Honestly,
police.
kind of refreshing to see a Star Wars thing that doesn't use blue milk.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which maybe blue milk is bantha milk because it's on Tatooine, which makes more sense than the Last Jedi
Yeah,
thing.
it's
where
like a
some
cow creature.
far-flung
Looks
planet,
delicious.
but,
yeah.
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 This is so he has Ken brought from the police station.
Yeah.
And he
Because
wants
he
to find
owns
out.
the cops now.
Yes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because he won it all in a Sabat
Yeah,
game. To
yeah.
which the cops go, cool.
And he just wants to figure out if this Ken is like the Ken.
Right, because he's like, Ken like Kenobi? You know what? I know a lot about boy mind.
Yeah, so he
Yeah.
drugs this boy.
Yeah, so he
well,
had...
Ken asked for some
Ken
candy
asked
flavored
for
buns.
some candy flavored buns, and Zorba thinks, you know what? It's used a lot in candy flavored buns. Is Avabush?
Don't forget
Avadash?
don't forget his sticky sweet mallow.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. What is candy flavored? Sugar?
I was wondering
I
that
guess
too.
just
What
sugar.
the fuck is
Sugary?
candy
Candy
flavored?
flavored? It's
Why isn't it
it's
just like
sugar.
a sweet bun or something?
Yeah.
Also,
Candy
hey,
flavored-
guess how Ken knows about him? From fucking reading about him in the Jedi Library. He read about candy flavored buns in the Jedi Library.
Reading this book feels like when your parents were busy and your grandparents were also busy, so you had to be watched by their friends with no kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you want
A cigarette?
Yeah.
do you want a candy flavored bun? Like they'll put on 60 Minutes for you.
Yeah.
It's like, can I make you oh God, I don't know. What do you like? Candy flavored things?
But they do have cable.
Yeah.
Oh, do they?
So
They
there
have
is an upside.
Cinemax.
Yeah, they do.
Oh God. Okay. So,
And couches you're not allowed to sit on, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
one of the most alien ideas to a child. This is not a sitting couch.
Yeah,
This
or
is
like-
not a towel for drying your hands.
I remember one house we moved into had like a living room that was somehow separate because we always hung out in the basement. So
The den.
So my parents put all the nice furniture in this living room, and it was always like, "Don't go in there.
You can't
Yeah.
go
Just
in there.
don't really go
You
in
can't
Don't enter.
spill.
Like,
There's
what the fuck are you?
Yeah, don't
why
touch
do we
that
have
door.
This? We never hang out here. Why do we have it?
that's what
get
what
in
making
huge
it
trouble.
is in the suburbs.
Yeah.
You have a
Yeah.
room for the
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
things you
yeah.
don't use.
Yep.
So I want to read this horrible sentence after he's drugged Ken. And he says, it says, Zorba gave a devious smile. Tell old Zorba the truth now. Hutts can get very nasty when boys lie.
Yeah.
He's like a fable.
Yes.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
brush your
Like a
teeth or
troll or
Zorba or
something.
that nasty Hutt will
Come
know
get
you're
you.
lying.
And then Ken says he thinks Ken comes from Kenobi. Like
Is
he's
Ken from
related to Obi-Wan
Kenobi?
Kenobi.
Which also, it's like, I don't know. Maybe. Yes. Basically, yeah.
None of you people should know who any of these people are. Obi-Wan was an insane person who lived in the desert to you.
Yeah.
That's all he ever was to you. Also, like, yeah, we've established in the movies, even the other Imperials barely believe in Jedi and whatever, which, okay, it doesn't make any fucking sense because they're all over 20. They should have been around.
Remember the
when
old days.
Yeah, but
Listen, maybe the Jedi was like a very esoteric monk order. Nobody really pays
Well,
attention
maybe
to
someone
them.
used
Yeah.
a Jedi mind trick
Oh!
and said there were no Jedis.
Oh!
Jedi.
Just like
That's
Ken
actually a
tries
different
to
race.
do
Yeah.
to
Jedi.
Zorba,
Yep.
where he says, I'm not the boy you're looking for.
Yep.
Like from the movie.
Classic.
Yeah.
It's a
He-
classic.
he does
movie.
that 3 times?
He does it.
Yeah.
Well, there's one where he uses it on the trailer, and then he
Yep.
goes, "Oh shit, sorry," lets him out, and then he goes to the cabbie, and the cabbie says, "Do you have any money?" He goes, "Oh shit," and he goes, "He wondered if it would work again. It did."
Yep.
And then we have he's ordering Tibor around, And then Tibor's just standing there and he just throws a gemstone at him. And he's like, "Thank you, Zorba."
I know.
And then
He
runs
says,
off.
"I have an answer that would be worth 3 gemstones." And Zorba doesn't even entertain it, throws 1 at the ground, and he goes, "All right,
Yeah.
cool." Anyway,
So many
he
gemstones.
tries to lie really
Yeah.
poorly. He's like, "I'm from the Lost City of the Jedi on Yavin." I mean,
4.
a plate.
I
of
think
yours.
three.
Oh, 3. It's just so stupid. And then like
Oh, God.
I think maybe my name Ken comes from Kenobi. I might be related to Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I don't know because the droids who raised me wouldn't tell me. All they told me was that a Jedi Knight in a brown robe took me to the Lost City for safety, so the Imperial Stormtroopers wouldn't find me in. Do we have to talk about this anymore? Because the truth
Gets
serum
sleepy,
also
it drugs
makes him
him.
tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
There's no reason
What
for
a
it to make
combo.
him unconscious, but like, I don't know. I don't know.
Tri-
Then they put him in one of the cells where they keep the casino crooks.
Why? It's like, I know a lot about child psychology. Let's butter him up and give him all this candy and then throw him in the dungeon.
Yeah. He's getting sleepy.
And
Stop him in
keep
itself.
drugging him.
Yeah.
I want him in a stupor.
So then Trioculus and some stormtroopers just barge in.
Well, Zorba contacts them to trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I have something you might want.
Yep.
And so
It's a boy.
it's a boy. Yeah,
And
because
Trioculus says, a boy?
yeah, he's like, what do you mean the prince is a boy?
Oh, yeah, he's really confused by
He's
that,
like,
yeah.
a boy? You're telling
Why?
me this
You
prince
hardly
is a
look
boy?
more than 12 or 13.
Yep.
My favorite thing in any of these books is the relationship between Zorba and Trioculus because it's like watching 2 schizophrenic
Yes.
meth heads
Yep.
from the window of a
Yeah.
bus because they're just
What a rivalry.
But he says, "I hear you're the new governor of Cloud City. Congratulations! I'm sure you will bring discipline and prosperity to the gambling industry here." And then Zorba says, "And congratulations on you, Trioculus, on becoming the new leader of the Galactic Empire." The formalities out of the way.
Yep.
Yeah, so they go to the tower's basement, and he says,
Yeah.
"A boy."
So
Oh,
he's-
and then he does
he's
a
in
static mind. He makes static in Trioculus'
Oh, yeah.
mind. Ken does like a Jedi mind trick.
That's
on
when
him.
he does the
So-
Jedi mind trick, which is telepathy.
So
Yeah.
Trioculus...
I'm not the boy you're looking for.
Trioculus says, stronger Jedi than you have tried and failed. And
Yeah.
I just made a note. Who?
Yeah, I wrote the exact same thing.
You don't know any Jedi. They're
Does
all...
Triclops have the Force?
No, I don't even think
Well,
he knows what
no,
it is.
I mean, he might, but he's not
Isn't
a
the idea
Jedi.
that you have to have lightning powers to prove
seems
that you
like
are
he
the
thinks
son?
that you have to have the lightning
So
powers.
in
Rather
the,
than gun dreams?
in this current canon, when this came out, the only other Jedi I'm aware of other than Luke would be Kaboth,
yeah,
who's not even really a Jedi
who's
anymore.
been on this one planet the whole time.
Yeah.
Old Joris.
Well,
Yes.
he says that maybe he's not being genuine because he says that with a sneer. Then the sneer changed into a smile. Actually, no, sorry. Then he changed his sneer into a
Oh,
smile.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did it himself.
He
Yeah.
did that.
Consciously.
Yeah, this is when he calls him a monster. You're a liar, killer, and a destructive monster. All the things that Leia calls him, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm all those things, but what's wrong with that?" But Trioculus says, "What do you think I'm best at? Lying? Killing? No, every slave lord has to hold an execution now and then.
Yep,
it's only
true.
natural. Why do you consider me a monster?" It's like, but you said to the person you want to marry that being a monster is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a monster because he burned the rainforest
So yeah,
on Gavin.
Ken's being resistant, and then Tibor says, "Perhaps the Jedi Prince would like another candy-flavored bun."
This is a lizard man, by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah.
And Ken
He's
says,
a Barabel.
"Yeah, I could eat."
Are the bear bells the little, the smaller versions of,
Like a Trandoshan. They're like kind of just, I don't know how big they are, but they're like smoother.
Oh, okay.
They're kind of like smooth looking.
Gotcha.
There's a few that pop up throughout Star Wars fiction, but Tibor is definitely the coolest.
So Zorba insists that they shut down the thing,
The
whatever.
Braze Factory.
Braze
Oh,
factory,
yeah.
yeah.
This happened after Trioculus found out that Ken knows about him and Triclops and the
Yeah.
Supreme Prophet.
He
That
understands. We
apparently
already
he
talked
read
about all
about
this,
that.
yes.
Just saying, this
Yeah.
is how late in the book this comes
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
The thing that they referenced in the recap of the last book.
So
Yeah.
Zorba tells him it needs to shut down because business in the casinos is down, way down. Even though we're offering bigger jackpots than ever. You've owned the casino for like 20 minutes.
Stinking
It's like the
Braze.
same day.
How is it down? How is business? You don't know that.
Business.
And then
still about-
Trioculus says, "A little Braze never harmed anyone."
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like it's like not some brand new thing that just got
Yeah.
introduced.
I don't know. Also, it's
This has my favorite,
Cloud City. Doesn't
Yeah.
Cloud City
Yeah.
exist above the atmosphere of the planet?
which is even in the official lore is a mining
Yeah,
planet,
for
but-
Tabana gas.
yeah,
And also, here's a great line. I want that boy. Trioculus said, what is your price? He's a boy seller.
I also have. I
Yes.
want that boy highlighted.
Zorba's a
Yep.
boy seller.
My favorite line in this book is taxes for Queen Leia, so she can have anything her heart desires.
He's specifically
threatening
going to
taxes and-
tax the casino, or yeah, which it's like, but Zorba's the governor.
Yeah.
Who's it? What? Where do the taxes come from? Also, he says she will be my wife. She will be queen of the empire. Hearing those words, Zorba's old heart nearly burst. Which this is the second time he almost has a heart attack. Which because when they sell him that Jabba's dead, it says his heart almost exploded.
Keeps
And,
almost
like,
popping.
I don't know. Is it because he can't make a deal, or he's just shocked at there being a queen of the empire?
Yeah.
Or, like, why does his old heart nearly burst?
Trioculus says there will be new taxes on every casino in Cloud City, starting with your holiday towers. Taxes for Queen Leia, so she can have anything her heart desires.
Can he do that?
Apparently.
think so.
He just has a factory there.
It's like all he cares about now.
Yeah.
He's just like, I need to marry Princess
and
Leia.
honestly, like Patrick said, you know what? I see that as a Trioculus arc.
Yeah.
That makes way more sense
Yes.
than anything with the fucking glove
If
or
the
the
schizophrenic
Supreme
man
Prophets.
would
Yes.
abandon all of his hopes of becoming like God and instead just hyper focus on some woman and be really creepy to her.
the
Yeah,
strong
that he-
but soft
that-
features.
The
Yep.
woman that he saw, the first thing he saw after regaining his sight from blindness.
Yeah.
Oh, then he offers Zorba a new spaceship because the Zorba Express
Yeah,
is a
because he
piece
said
of shit.
yeah, that other
that's
one's
where
crap.
that's where I put the note because he says they say the Zorba Express is bad and that's where I wrote the note. Why does everyone know everything about everyone?
Said it's ready to be made into
Probably
scrap.
because of macro binoculars.
Oh,
I
Zorba
guess.
spits on the ground.
Who is saying this?
Zorba
what
has-
rumor mill is this coming out of?
Zorba has spit 3 times in this book.
PTA
Once on the floor,
meetings?
once on his hand, once on the feet. And then basically this whole interchange goes this way. Give me Leia. No. Give me Leia. No. Give me Ken. No. Give me Ken. No.
Yep.
And then they go, I hate you. I hate you too. I hate you more.
We're sworn enemies.
Yeah, it's just like
So a bunch of stormtroopers like run into the room. 'cause
They
they're gonna
shoot
steal-
Zorba.
So-
Yeah, they shoot Zorba.
They
and they're gonna
shoot him
steal
a
Ken.
lot, but his
then
thick skin is
Zorba's cloud police like pop out of the ground like a
like guerrilla fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they kill 20 guys.
Yeah.
Like they just shoot them in cold blood. They've been in there.
There's a picture of this firefight.
the thing
This is
what that
fucking
calls
crazy.
to
Oh, yeah.
that calls to mind is they're all trying to get stains off the walls.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, Lord.
So yeah, Zorba's dirty cops waste 20 Nazis. They've been under there. Apparently Lando had the trapdoor installed.
Yeah, of course.
Why not?
It's his penthouse.
Why not?
Lando.
Special for Lobot.
Then there's a Lobot sits down there, and then it ends with Zorba laughing because he gets Trioculus in chains, but that
Oh,
happens in
Lord.
the beginning of the next chapter.
Yeah. So Zorba got shot a bunch.
And he goes ho ho ho.
He's captured Trioculus.
He didn't stop laughing for even a second.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, the stormtroopers ran off and some of them died.
The Cloud Police do have new model laser pistols.
They
by
do.
the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's important to note. I guess.
I guess that's probably a Lando thing. Because Zorba can't have turned that around.
Yeah, it was
so
from the
fast.
last administration.
Yeah, exactly.
So we go back.
Landonomics.
Ken is in the cell. A human man
Yeah.
brings him his food, and he's like, you know what? I should try that Jedi mind trick again. And
One more
guess what? He tries it, and it works.
It works.
Yeah, he
He
says,
tells
I'm
the guy that he's
Tibor.
Tibor. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, fuck.
How'd you get in there?
Then he runs out from being drugged and held hostage in the basement of a casino.
And then
He
he
passed
takes
many
a-
dazzling
There we
sights
go.
of the big city, including Mask Hall, where he peeked through a window to see the never-ending masquerade party.
Oh.
Why?
The
cool.
fuck are you talking?
He's a
Wait,
precocious boy.
looking in the
What?
windows
He likes
of,
cool
of
things.
fucking Wanamakers. What's going on
So
here?
strange.
And then he steals a taxi with another Jedi mind trick.
Yeah.
Oh,
he,
yeah.
He wondered if it would work, and once again, it worked.
Yep.
Which also, like, at one point in the next bit, they send the droids to go find Ken, but they don't. He gets back in a taxi.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
they
what did
intercept.
happen
It's
to
like,
those
why
droids?
don't the droids just find him?
Yeah. Well, and
That
so-
could work just fine.
And our other hostage, Leia,
Right.
cut
the
back.
Second captain.
Luke is. It says searching every building.
Yeah.
And luckily, he just happens to see her breaking out of the roof.
With the macro binoculars.
Yeah,
Macro
here's one of
binoculars.
those crazy Hollis and Paul transitions. He saw a service ladder that went up the side of the building, a ladder that could help them get to her. A short time later, when Luke met up with Leia on the edge.
Yes. Yeah. He saw a thing.
Whoa!
There's
saw a
not
ladder.
a lot.
He climbed it.
There's not a break or anything. It just says this happens.
Yeah. And it's not even like this happens. It's like he saw a thing after he did something.
Yeah. Then he almost scares her off the roof.
Yeah.
And then like the Falcon saves them. The Falcon comes and picks them up.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I have anything else highlighted. Not really. There is a domed building somewhere. I'm trying to find anything.
Highlighted this for some reason.
Zorba scores a direct hit. The central generator building, the domed power center for the Imperial barge. They love things that are domed.
Yeah. I guess it's sci-fi-ish. I guess.
I don't know.
He blows up the factory.
It's a really weird. Oh yeah. Well, Zorba blows up the factory with a bunch of bounty hunters.
Bounty hunter ships
Yeah.
show up.
Yeah, a lot
an
of them
army
just
them.
flying different flags.
and they just blow it up. And so Luke has a weird interact where he's like chastising Han.
Oh, it's just
Yeah. For you want to read it if you got it.
Well,
highlighted?
there's a little the escape happens. The factory
Yeah.
blows up. Han says to Chewie, "A narrow escape, Chewie," Han said with a grin. "If I'd stopped for even half a minute to lubricate our subatomic accelerator, our friends would still be down there boiling and bubbling Rethin." Which
Well,
it
it's
doesn't
not.
boil.
It's warm,
It's supposed
you
to
said.
be warm.
It's said it's not boiling.
Yeah.
Also, it's just like this wouldn't have happened if people ate all the food I made for my party.
Yeah.
Now it's in the cooling chamber.
Han finally got off his ass.
Luke is
He threw a beer across the room and said,
Yeah.
"Fine."
Luke's
Fine.
yelling at him. He says, "Han, he's just a kid. He's not even 13 years old." Which Han says, he seems to think he's old enough to drive in the Cloud Car Racing Finals. But you have to qualify for the final. Like, why is it always the finals?
You have to be 20
It's
if
like his
you're
new
an alien.
thing. It's his new thing that he's so excited about. The Cloud
Every
Car
time you
Racing
see him, he's
Finals.
got a new thing, and it's like, "So, Han, how's the Cloud Racing Finals?" It's like, "I'm starting a podcast."
Yeah. Yep.
All right, fine.
Oh
sure.
my god! So they blow up the factory. They escape, and then Zorba has brought Trioculus to the carbon freezing chamber.
Yeah.
And he's tricked because he thinks Leia was in the tower. So
Yeah.
he thinks Leia's dead.
He's real excited about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
In the world where everyone knows everything, somehow he doesn't know that.
I'm sure
Yeah.
he'll know the next book is going to open with Zorba being like, he had learned that Leia had actually survived.
Just then, in a matter of no time, this momentous thing, which I have another thing about the penthouse suite. While those momentous events were taking place in the penthouse suite, something almost as momentous was going on in the basement of the Holiday Towers Hotel and Casino.
fuck?
Put that on the front. That's
Yeah.
incredible. Make the
Yeah.
book called that. Which those momentous events are him saying, I'm a
Yeah.
different guy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
So
yes.
Trioculus begs for his life.
Yep.
It's really sad.
He says, "No, Zorba, stop!" And Zorba says, "Get ready, get set, go!" No, Zorba, please.
He screams.
Yeah, and he lowers him into the carbon thing, freezes him.
And it says, "Pizz, sizz, the deed was finished."
They describe it. It's a nightmare, too. Your
Yeah.
body will be frozen and trapped, and your mind will be in constant torment.
It's really upsetting. Just as it had once been done to Han Solo,
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Trioculus's body was now trapped. And then you asked, Patrick, how do people know things? Well, there's a Zorba news broadcast
Yep.
Yeah.
where he tells everybody that it happened.
Princess Leia's dead. And
and he-
Trioculus is a block of carbonite.
Hey everyone, there's gonna probably be an Imperial attack because I just froze their new Emperor in carbonite. Also, I'm your new governor.
Yeah.
I don't
we're
know
gonna-
if I did anything to announce it yet.
We're going to put Trioculus in the Cloud City Museum
And then,
for everybody to see.
right.
right, the Cloud Police, Cloud Bus, Cloud City Museum, but then also Mask Hall.
Yeah.
Han is listening in and said, Trioculus has been carbonized. That's the best thing that's happened since I finished building my sky house.
Since I finished building my sky house, just a stone's throw from where I was encased in
They
carbonite.
say it's literally 2 miles from
Yeah.
Cloud City. You
Isn't-
can see it.
Isn't that also like one of the worst things that's
that's
we talked a lot
ever
about
happened
Luke's
to him.
weird or Han's weird fondness for being near the worst place he's ever been.
He's like, oh, Trioculus got
I'm gonna
frozen carbonite.
build my new bungalow at Auschwitz.
That seems like a wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy type
I
of
know,
situation.
I
Yeah,
know.
but
guess
he
not.
wishes it.
Well,
He's
yeah.
like,
you'd think-
awesome.
Pumped.
It was a bad place where a bad thing happened to me, but my best friend Lando runs things there, and I can see him. Hey, Han, I
you
just
doing,
gambled
buddy?
away my livelihood.
Remember
See
when
ya."
I betrayed you?
At this very place.
Remember when you stole everything from you? Then I betrayed you, and then I ended up making
wore your
good
clothes.
with you.
Yep.
I took your Falcon.
Oh yeah, why is he
That's
wearing his clothes?
At the end
It's
of
never
Empire.
answered, right?
He just
Yeah,
does it.
okay.
I don't know.
Hey,
But
look what
then
I found.
Everyone, this part where like they're all like feeling sorry for Han. Leia's like, you haven't even had a chance to enjoy your house yet, Han. I'm sorry you have to
Yeah.
leave like this because he has to like travel with her to keep
Can't
her
he
safe.
take the house with him?
Yeah, I mean,
They
yeah,
built it.
yeah.
They built it in
Yeah.
Port Town.
Just drag it or something. Put it like it's like a trailer.
put
it's
it
literally
somewhere
a trailer.
else. Yeah.
Read what Han says.
Your safety comes first, princess. For the time being, I'm leaving behind the lifestyle of a homeowner. I'm officially a traveling man again.
So it's life dash style. Is that?
No,
That's
they
not how
love
No, it's
hyphens.
one
They
word, yeah.
love hyphens.
Okay.
Which there was, I think it was the last book. The tubular transport was hyphenated once,
Yeah.
Oh,
and all the
okay.
other times it was not. I forgot to bring that up.
I did also have
So-
life.
But so he's had a
style
house for a day.
And yeah, he's at a house for one day, I think. And
with the most comfortable chair ever
they're
designed.
leaving. They're like, let's go to Corellia. Han's like, no, I think I want to go to a romantic
Yeah.
place.
What about Yavin
instead."
4?
Yeah, no,
Well,
not
he
that.
says I want to go somewhere romantic. Any problems with that, Leia? She says, "No, that's
Yes.
cool as long as I can bring my brother."
so weird.
As a chaperone? As
a
chaperone.
And
She
Luke's
says,
like, affirmative.
yeah, I'll be there.
he says,
I wouldn't miss it.
he's such a dork. He's such a junior galactic scout
Yeah.
that when she says, "I'm gonna," because she's just craving a third, and you
Yeah.
know
Yeah,
the devil,
yeah.
you know,
Anyone will
right?
do. Yeah, anyone will
and,
do.
And she says, as long as Luke's there to chaperone, he says, "Affirmative, power up and engage sub light speed thrusters."
And then he has Luke take over the accelerator so he can make out with Leia.
Yeah.
While Luke and his 12-year-old ward
Yes.
look on,
Yeah.
like
And
for
he-
a while,
Like fondly.
yes, they're like, ha 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 ha.
and he starts contemplating marriage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is one of the longest thoughts that's outlined in these books. So
Yeah,
far.
it's like a whole paragraph.
Yeah,
You want to
so
read it?
I think you should read it.
Oh. So he says
As a married man.
Yeah, before that he says maybe he should propose marriage to her. Maybe it was about time that he popped the question. But what would he say exactly? Senator Leia Organa, could you ever love a mischievous Corellian pilot like me enough to say I do at the altar? No, too stiff and formal. How about the simple approach? Princess, will you marry
He's
me?
kissing her all the while.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
eyes are like
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
around.
Yeah.
No, they're still
No.
embraced
Too
and kissing,
short.
right?
Not enough affection. What about Leia? Will you be my wife and the mother of my children? No, too old fashioned.
You built a house so you could fill it with her kids.
Yeah.
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 It was a tough problem. A
You got a
very
spa-
tough problem indeed.
You got the most comfortable chair ever so that she could float 9
In the
feet
galaxy.
above the party.
And you keep making all that shitty food.
And that's it. That's the
That's
That's the book.
I just-
Ken gives Luke a little nudge, and they activate the hyperdrive thruster and says, boosting their velocity far above light speed. Zwoosh! There was a blurry flash.
And then they were gone. Glossary.
There was a blurry flash.
the last sentence of this book is and then they were gone.
Just amazing. And then immediately, of a bush spice, this is the glossary, a
Yeah.
spice that acts as a truth serum, also brings on sleepiness. Often it's baked into sweets such as candy flavored buns.
That's crazy. Why would it be done
Fucking
like why would
so
you do
cool.
I just, yeah. This book is my favorite of the three.
that? Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
It's
great.
so good.
Easily.
From,
yeah.
from the moment I saw Zorba Express to
Yeah.
Lando ruining his life.
Lando losing Cloud
Freaking
City is
cart.
fucking amazing.
This is hands
Please,
down
Han,
the
you
best
gotta
so
help me.
far.
Call him, so Han, I'm leaving the planet.
He's got a gun too.
fucked
He's
up
got a
bad, huh?
revolver. Yeah. Next
What
you
was
see
it,
it's like it's like what's the movie with the oh god the Russian roulette the
13?
Deer Hunter?
Deer Hunter.
Oh.
Yeah, it's next thing you see it's 13. You just see Lando with a gun to his head.
Sorry, I opened up the next hardcover book I have, and I opened it straight to a picture of Trioculus.
Oh my god.
It's just like
Wow,
Christmas
wait.
So the next book we want to do. Is there any closing thoughts on Zorba the Hutt's Revenge?
I'm left with nothing.
Yeah.
I fully understand
laid out.
why this was one of my favorite books as a child.
Yeah.
Thrills.
This one's so
Your pile of
minute.
Zorba's here.
So much happens.
It's you think like we're finally off and started. We had an entire book of setup where nothing happens. Then
Yeah.
it's like we gotta get Han a housewarming present.
Yep.
And Han just stays in the house the whole time.
Yeah, the whole-
While
the
everybody
entire
goes
book.
on adventures. He just
Yeah,
sits
people
there.
are running around. And he's like, I bet I could win with this
Yeah.
car.
Um,
And that's pretty cool, huh, Ken? You wanna sit
Huh?
there?
12-year-old?
So much-
Who's
so
this
much
short
more.
guy? Is he for sale?
so much
boy
more
selling.
entertaining. I like that they have two villains pitted against
I
each
know.
other now.
Just arguing each other like,
Immediately.
Yep.
like, you'll die for this. No, you'll die for this.
This book rocks.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, I had so much fun reading it.
Yeah.
Way better. The last one was like homework.
One of the worst, for sure.
And graded by a homework droid.
HC
afterwards,
100.
before it was
Yeah,
finished.
he
Got
came
his
in
pop-
and took
his
our
pop.
podcast before it was
This
edited.
one was genuinely so much better
Yeah.
to read.
It was
yeah.
like there's so many phrases from Jabba Express to the most comfortable chair ever designed to like that fat old Hutt.
Yeah. Akbar just being annoying.
Drugging a boy.
Drugging a boy.
Lando just depressed, losing everything.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
leaving it.
And just piecing out.
Just
yeah.
dirty cops and,
Yeah.
and
Just
trap
bag.
doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. He's like, well,
outta
that
here.
is the best thing that happens.
Yeah.
Is this gambling addict keeps
Yeah.
ruining his life.
Yep.
Like, I can't make it to your party. I lost
You'll
everything.
be fine without me, you fucking lowlife.
Also, your Leia's gonna get killed by Zorba the Hutt soon.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
good
it's
luck.
fine because you have
Oh,
Kate.
fuck. Yeah, you have Kate, your new sex robot.
We're gonna
that your
buy you,
best
Kate.
friend bought for you.
To repeat, if you
shit.
want to hear a dramatic reading of the book, we have that available to
We
patrons.
foolishly agreed to read 6 of these.
It's a really good, stupid idea.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun doing it too, even if it almost kills us.
It's so funny. It's very.
It is
funny.
very good.
So the
yeah.
next book is called Mission from Mount Yoda.
Yep.
Which I have almost no memory of.
It's.
I remember Queen of the Empire and Prophets of the Dark Side, but Mission from Mount Yoda is not in my brain.
I think Mission from Mount Yoda. Oh, I should clarify. I read all of these out of order.
Of
Oh
course.
yeah, same.
Zorba the Hutt's Revenge is the first one I read.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
the
did that with
coolest
Hardy
cover.
Boys.
Yeah.
Because before
Well,
I had
that was a little
these-
different. I don't think there was a through line there, but that was the first one I'd read. And I own the first 4, which tells me I probably read the first 4. I don't think I've
Over and
ever
over.
read 5 and 6.
Really?
I don't think I've ever read Queen of the Empire, Prophets of the
Very
Queen of the
excited
Empire
to
was the
experience
first
this.
one I read.
Yeah, hey, there you go.
Is that
Yeah.
the one with the
Yeah.
wedding that I've seen the picture of?
Yes.
I'm not going to give
I
anything
think the
away,
fifth
but I've
one's the
edited
wedding
enough
one.
Yep.
Funhouse videos to know what
Yep.
happens.
It is fucking awesome.
All right.
Can't wait.
Well,
But I'm sure that'll be shattered when I read it again.
Yeah, no, it wasn't yeah.
how do we say goodbye in Huttese?
Me Jews cool, everybody. Me
Jews cool.
Yeah, as we say on Varl,
Me
Jews
coo.
I've got a bad feeling about this.